Oh.
We're not that late.
Hey.
Hey, whoa, hey, man.
Oh.
David Scher, thank you, dude.
Nice.
Hey, all of a
Off
sudden,
to a great start.
Where is that?
I have to acknowledge R2, R3 with the Tom and Jerry quote. That was great. Is you is or is you ain't my baby. That goes out to my fiance, Linda. She's a good fan of big fan of Tom and Jerry as well as her dog.
So, yeah. but not this.
Maybe not. No, she likes this show too. Love you, Linda.
You're the star, man.
That's right. So
I mean, look at this. Look at this. You're what's her name? Linda?
Linda, yeah.
Look at that. This dude's a rock. This dude's a rock star.
Thank you.
This
John.
guy here. Everybody, smash that thumbs up for John BL.
Woo!
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. And David Scher. David Scher, thank you so much, dude. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey now, everybody. This is John BL's Straturday Night Live.
Welcome, everyone.
December 4th, 2021, 8/19/11. So it's about 11:04 Eastern, 8:04 Pacific.
Just turned 11:05
in Santa Cruz. Just turned 8:05. It's time to rock.
That's right. There you go.
Right?
1986.
That's right.
All over again. Let's pretend.
Yeah. Well, hey, we've got some stuff to talk about.
Definitely.
Awesome. So hey, let's make this a proper show, and let's say hello to the top tier of channel members here on Johnny Beane TV here on YouTube. They're the executive producers.
Look at them.
Look at them. Look at this list, man. Now that's a list, man.
Look at all the people on that list.
Look at this. We got Dave Ennis. We got Vinyl Freak 5150. We got Mike Neese, our Mike Neese. We got Music Therapy Laz, Majestic PB and J Cat, Wayno, False Flag, Andy Carson, Michael B, R Habs, the Chad, Lenny Lou and Mary, James Gum, John Moronic, Stephen Franklin, Michael Smith, the Captain, who I don't know if we'll see him tonight or not.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hopefully we'll see him. Thomas Santiago, Joe Christian, Jimmy Ray Hawkins, and Steve Carmichael.
Steve Carmichael.
Woo! Yes, I was actually telling Steve Carmichael today.
The Carmeister.
In a over on my EVH Gear Live, was it the Facebook page? Maybe I'd posted. You've seen it. There's a picture of a bar. I guess it's a Hard Rock. I guess it was in Dallas, Texas, at some point, and it looks like the Kramer 5150.
I don't know. I'm sure I've seen it. I can't recall it right away.
You had well, here I'll show you. I just happen to have a.
Was it on your on the Facebook or your Twitter? Or?
Yeah, my Facebook and my Instagram.
Sure, yeah.
At EVH Gear Live fan account.
Nice.
I posted that last night, and I believe it was a Hard Rock Cafe in Dallas, Texas. I keep hearing. Sorry, it's blurry. But Steve Carmichael said he's actually been there. He actually sat at that bar.
Wow.
And so I said to Steve Carmichael, I'm like, dude, you could build that.
What the volume pod is there, or any?
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sorry,
Steve's a woodworker. That's right.
Sorry, it's blurry.
No, that's all right.
The volume pot is actually a menu, I think.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Yeah, it's like menu and
oh, that's cool.
Catch
that's really
up
cool.
and all that stuff. But yeah, very cool.
Nice.
Very cool, you guys.
And speaking of Dallas,
look at that. Look at that. Speaking of Dallas, we can talk about that as well. But let me just say hello to our let's see. Well, it was David Scher. David Scher. There you are, man, supporting the show. Love it. David Scher. Thank you so much, dude. As always. See, if you guys are wondering what that is, that's called a super chat here on YouTube. And what that does is that triggers the lights back there in the guitar moire. So if you'd like to help support the channel, support these shows, any super chats will change the color of my lights. It's magic. You guys saw that instantly as soon as we started tonight. David Scher, there you are, man.
Got to support the team.
Steve Carmichael. Steve Carmichael.
Steve.
Yeah. So any super chats will change the color of my lights. We're also live on Facebook, Johnny Beane TV Facebook page, where if you'd like to help support over there, we have what are called Facebook Stars, which is a digital gift that helps in the production of these shows. We're live all over Facebook, the Van Halen 74 to Forever Facebook group, just under 63,000 members. Growing bigger and bigger every day. Out of control, let's just say. EVH Gear Live, Facebook group, Facebook page, my own personal profile where I'm booting out the weirdos. So if you'd like to stay on Facebook, on my Facebook page, you can add me at John, middle initial E, and then B-E-A-N. John E. Beane. That's my other page. Yeah. And here's Paul.
I heard somebody breathe in there.
Little case of the allergies.
Oh man.
December 4th. December 4th. I'm having a hard time breathing. It's a little snotty here. We have a change of seasons. It's fall.
What is it? Like 85 out most days?
It was during the day, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 61 now at 10 past 9. So
a frigid 61.
Oh,
that's it may drop down into the 40s by 2 o'clock in the morning. So yeah. Again, we're looking at we are 2 weeks away, closer to 3 weeks, but about 20 days away from our 4-day winter. From December 19th through the 23rd or so. It gets pretty cold here.
Wow. I hope you can make it through.
Well, it'll be very difficult. Times. Rico B knows what I'm talking about. We have to close the windows on days like that. We actually have on our news, which is funny. Our news casters will be like, and you may want to go outside and cover your plants.
Schools probably cancel school. You know, make sure all the kids don't have to deal with the low temperatures.
It's pretty interesting. We almost have stuff like that, but no, it's not quite that bad, but it's pretty funny. You know, our 4-day winter, people that, you have to wear a jacket. Like I'm still wearing shorts. Like you still,
oh yeah,
I take the dogs out at like 1 o'clock in the morning and you're still wearing shorts. Yeah. It's very difficult to enjoy the Christmas spirit when the Christmas lights are going up the stem of a palm tree. People who live in subtropical climates know what I'm talking about. Florida, Mississippi, down the Gulf Coast, Southern California. They know exactly what I'm talking about. It's very difficult to think about Christmas when you see these commercials and they're giving away, these beautiful Lexus and luxury vehicles. A guy's buying a pair of $100,000 Denali trucks, because that's what we do for Christmas. And they're in this nice snow, this snow environment and all that stuff. It's like, ooh, I'm in shorts.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's sort of like that here too, where you got the palm trees with the lights, and it's cold, but it's not that cold, Right,
yeah,
Jason McNamara? Hey, good to see you,
Jason.
Dude.
Hey, wow. Jason McNamara.
Yeah, you guys have the toilets to go the other way direction too down there. So they're all fucked up. Right. The Australians,
they pee out of them.
Yeah, the Australians are fucked up.
and Bart Simpson introduced frogs to Australia.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
See, the Australians have, Santa Claus and his 8 tiny deadly reptiles.
Oh man.
Australians are awesome though. They have the best rock. The best rock comes.
I was
from
going to say
Australia.
wallabies, but I think that's New Zealand, isn't it? I don't know.
I don't know.
That's
They're all
koala
fucking-
bees.
Koalabees, yeah.
Yes. Now you're okay, Dr. Moreau. Guys like over there, he's gene splicing these marsupials that you get. Fucking Australia, New Zealand.
Kangaroos.
Right, here we go.
Crikey.
Once you start doing the accent, Jason's like, "All right, everybody, I'm out."
The crocs there. We love you, Jason. Thanks for.
And by the way, what the
watching.
fuck would Jason know about being on Australia? He's in Japan.
I know. I hope he's in Japan. I don't know.
He's from
Jason-
Australia.
Jason is literally big in Japan.
Isn't he like, yeah, he's a big guy.
Wow. Kevin Coachell, we'll get to that, even though John Biel and I didn't hear it.
Somebody. heard it.
Although we've heard it before. I was saying that for years.
Yeah, I mean it's look, a lot like, I don't know if any of you guys have been watching the Get Back documentary about the Beatles. A lot like every other band, there is one cornerstone pivot. There has to be a leader in every organization, and the fact of the matter is, it was Dave.
Mhm.
He was the leader. He may not have been the musical, impetus, but he was the leader. He was the guy that ran the show. And
For the Beatles?
Yes, he was clearly the guy.
Yeah. Generally, lead vocalists are kind of the leaders of the band.
Well, they're the extroverts, so they tend to be the mouthpiece and the people that they're the ringmaster on stage.
the
and
face.
so yeah,
They're
they're
the
the ones
face
that,
of the band.
but when you're talking about, they're what you hear most of the time. They're the identity of the band. The vocalist is always the identity of the band. They may not be the most musically talented guy in a band. I mean, obviously Robert Plant, not the most musically talented guy. Roger Daltrey, a variety of people, number of people. Clearly not the most talented musically, but certainly the people that make the machine go. And in Robert's case, he got credit for a lot of shit that Jimmy Page did. So, good.
Thank you,
We're-
Black
we're-
Swan.
We're keeping up with Michael's.
It's kind of like a
seal of
Primus
approval.
thing.
Yeah, it's absolutely a Primus thing.
No, but I think in the early years, wasn't Alex was kind of like the head honcho, and then when Dave came into the picture, it was probably
Well, I mean,
he took
yeah.
over slowly but surely.
Yeah, I think when you're dealing with the fact, I think the thing that we all know is unless he was drunk and holding a guitar, Edward Van Halen was an introvert. And those people, that, by the way, that's very common with guitar players. Guys who are good have this tendency to be, because all they know is isolation and guitar playing. And that's good. And by the way, that's a good thing. That's the trade-off you make. Some people are good at the mouth, that's their skill, and some people are good with the fingers, and that's their skill. And when you find that chemistry, the Steven Tyler, Joe Perry, the Pete Townsend, Roger Daltrey, the Dave, Eddie, Jimmy, Robert, I mean, that Mick Keith, that's a
100
thing.
stories of it. Yeah, everybody.
Yeah.
Dozens of bands.
Thank you, Eric, the #1 Van Halen host. Yes, I appreciate that. I do not feel well. I have, like I said, I have a little bit of allergy.
Yeah, just some allergies. It's all good.
Yeah, be nice.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh,
give
wait
shit
a
if I-
minute.
Nah.
That's impossible. Wow.
Did you watch any of the Beatles documentary?
I watched the first one.
Mhm.
I watched it last Sunday as I was folding laundry. And then
That's a lot of laundry. 3 hours of
Yeah,
laundry.
it's a long.
actually I spent most of the time not folding the laundry, although don't
Okay.
tell anybody. But no, I watched it. I've been meaning to watch the other ones until before my subscription runs out of Disney Plus. Although I've been watching The Simpsons every night because they're on Disney Plus now. All the fun, actually the funny ones from the
early
mid-90s,
years. Oh yeah.
the mid-90 ones, and they're hilarious.
I'm not going to give away any spoilers in the Get Back thing, but I will tell you, Paul McCartney wrote the music to Imagine. Inadvertently did it. If you've ever heard of a psychological phenomenon known as cryptomnesia,
Oh yeah.
cryptomnesia is when you experience something and then later recall it as something that is your own idea. And I can tell you that there is a point in
That happens to me all the time on YouTube.
Yeah, there's a point at which John and Yoko, and by the way, we all owe Yoko Ono a little bit of an apology. She didn't do shit. She just sat around. She was like for anybody that thinks that Yoko Ono broke up the Beatles, watch the Get Back documentary. She didn't. She's useless. And by the way, that's a compliment. She just basically sits on a chair next to John because John is an insecure, dominating human being who is looking for both a mother figure and a possession. I mean, that was his persona. And so she just sits there like a loyal dog. And never really injects herself into anything except for when they're having a fun jam. They have a fun jam, and Yoko's there, screaming and yelling and fucking around,
doing her thing.
Oh,
her musical thing.
I saw that part.
Yeah, but she's not. But she's not a problem. She's not the intrusive girlfriend that she has been painted to be.
Right.
In fact, Linda McCartney says more in her, and I'm only 1 1/3 episodes through it.
Me too. Yeah, I'm about that.
Linda McCartney says more during her appearances than Yoko does. I've watched the entire 3 hours of the first segment and a good portion of the second segment, and Yoko was in the entire 3 hours of the first segment, and
she was knitting, she was writing.
Yeah, she didn't do shit.
Yeah,
she didn't do shit, and then
anything but intrusive.
Yeah, and then there's that area where Paul McCartney is actually sitting at the piano working on it. I'm not going to say what it is, but there's another song that he's working on. And during that period, and John, I know you heard it too because you play keyboards. He's working on something, and that pattern of Imagine comes up.
I do remember hearing something that brought me back to Imagine.
Yeah, you heard it.
Been the same point. Yeah,
I heard it, and I went, "Oh shit, that's Imagine!"
Right.
And John is sitting off to the side with Yoko. And I hear it, and I'm like, "Oh shit!" And I immediately picked up my iPad and put it on Facebook. I'm like, "I just heard Imagine. I just heard Paul write Imagine." I go, "If I heard it, John heard it." And then somebody else goes, "Well, you know what Cryptomnesia is?" And like that get into this whole conversation about the psycho. So that's why when going back to A1 Gaming, your text is what predicated this entire conversation, and that is yes, David Lee Roth uploaded something and explained how he had something to do with the striping of Eddie Van Halen's guitar. Any sort of a Jedi mind trick suggestion that can happen in a rehearsal situation or a band meeting situation can, Eddie starts painting something and Dave could go, "Hey man, you should stripe it up like really weird. So like it's unique and people can't copy it." And that's it. That's his part. I mean, he suggested it, and Eddie goes, maybe I should stripe this all up. It's the Jedi mind trick. That's Cryptomnesia. It's a real thing. And so, yes, we did read your text, and that's what predicated this diatribe.
Wow.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for texting. Thanks for playing.
Although I would say that I think I did hear the same thing you heard in the Get Back documentary, but I would bet over the subsequent 10, 15 years until Imagine, he may have heard it a few more times
10
from
years,
Paul.
though.
Well, what was it? No, it was less. Well, Imagine was released in what, 80? I think.
No.
When was
John
Imagine? Wasn't that on his last album? I could be wrong.
His last album?
Somebody in the chat.
John
Lennon's last album. When was I thought it was Imagine was his no, or was it Double Fantasy?
It came out two years after, literally a year after Let It Be. 1971.
Not 100. I see. Yeah, I'm not on top of the John Lennon catalog post Beatles. Oh, Nerd Halen, give me a break. Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What?
What?
Oh no.
Well, it doesn't have anything to do with a stage set. Mike,
oh my God.
taken down to
I'm
to
sorry.
Army size. He's not.
John Bale wasn't even born yet.
I don't
Come
know
on.
the date of Imagine. I just know that, you know, I'm thinking of what on his last album of was it Double Fantasy? Was that his last album, or was that his second
Probably.
album, or his first album? I don't know. Yeah. Anyway. Jeez.
Either way, it was
1971.
awesome.
Yeah, all right. It came out in 71. So anyway, just because we heard it in the I guess my point was just because we heard it in the Get Back documentary doesn't mean it was the only time that Lennon might have heard it as an earwig or, you know, earworm or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean that's
You know, they probably played it, you know, and not that I don't know if John stole it. Maybe he did. I don't know. But
I didn't say he stole it. What I said was
no, I know. I'm
Paul
just
McCartney
kind of,
wrote the music to it, and inadvertently John. I mean, look, there's only 12 notes, so but what you do is when you've got somebody sitting at the piano, and the way Paul does this, and again, this is the brilliance of the Get Back documentary. When you got Paul playing this, you know, and he's playing a flowing pattern on the keyboard, a rhythmic pattern where he's just playing high notes, low notes, high notes, low notes, and he's just going back and forth, and suddenly you hear that pattern, that rhythmic pattern, you go, oh, you know, and if you listen to the song that is one of the primary hits off of those recording sessions, and again, I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but if you go back and listen to that particular song, you can hear Imagine in it as well. So it's an interesting takeaway from that is, and by the way, let's just make it very clear, watching the Beatles sit down in that rehearsal studio. This is, if you're a musician, you really should watch this documentary, even if you don't like the Beatles.
Yeah.
Hear that, Jay? If you're a musician, watching this, because it really is a fly on the wall perspective, it will make you miss being in a band more than anything in the world. I know that's how I felt about it. I'm sure Johnny probably felt the same thing. You're in that room and you're watching people just jam and create, and it's the most amazing feeling in the world to sit down and watch people come up with this magic thing out of nothing. And the Beatles did it with ease. I mean, their throwaways are like at one
Paul
point.
did it.
Yes, Paul did most of it.
It was all Paul. After seeing that,
yes and no, because he beat George down. Because George presents, I will give this part away, George does present the song All Things Must Pass in those sessions, and they all go, oh no, that's shit. And it's not shit. It would have probably been the best song on the record. I mean, All Things Must Pass is a phenomenal piece of music. But by the time 69 rolls around, 68, 69 rolls around, George just had enough of their shit. George is just like, I don't know. I'll just sit here and play. Tell me what you want, and I'll sit here and play. And it's one of those, that's more John than George. But it's so amazing to just see those guys sitting there, and they're jamming these things out, and they're like making shit up. And you're like, oh, work on that. What do you mean, no? What? You know,
yeah, it's very small snippets of everything that they give you.
And you get a sense of, somebody related to the Gallagher brothers probably took that raw footage and brought it to them in the 90s and went, look, this is the template for your career. Just take all the shitty ideas that the Beatles had and write songs around them. And then you get Champagne Supernova. Which, by the way, is a phenomenal song in its own.
Yeah, it's all great stuff.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Maybe I'll watch part 2 tomorrow while I'm folding laundry. I think. But yeah, Paul, you're right though. Watching that, it reminded me of well, actually, most of the bands I was in, you get people just fighting nonstop with each other.
Yes.
And while you're sitting around like, can we just play? While the singer is screaming at the drummer and I'm used to hearing more of this at band practices than
that's what I remember from any band
than actual amazing music.
Right.
Well, that's the difference between every other failed band and the Beatles. Like,
I'm sure they had their share of that though too. Well, and obviously they did.
And then you get actually not as much as you think. Like that's the other thing is, there's two words I can use to describe the Beatles that you don't hear very often, it's self-aware. Like those guys were well aware of how important they were by this point, what the expectations of them were, and they literally didn't take it that seriously. I think to a fault, and I think that's part of the reason why it didn't go well and why they didn't split up. And yes, Jason McNamara brought it up a little bit. McNamara brought it up a couple minutes ago, and that is Paul actually sits there and states, 50 years from now, people are going to be saying the Beatles broke up because Yoko sat on an amp.
Yeah,
I mean, he fucking nails it in that one sentence. He nails the epitaph of the Beatles. He saw it. He sees it. He acknowledges it. He acknowledges that he's an asshole. Like this is the great thing about this is you learn a shitload. Two things you learn about the Beatles. A, it's Paul's machine, without a doubt. And B, Paul knows he's a fucking asshole. Yeah. He knows. Paul is completely aware that he's a fucking jerk and that he's a domineering asshole. And he's trying to stop. He's trying to say, hey, I don't want to be this guy, but you guys have got to fucking pull your own weight. And by that point, I think they, John had decided, as is always the case, you can't serve two masters. Sometimes it gets to the point where you say you're woman or your band. And if your band is not going well, and I can tell you I made this choice as well, if your band is not going well and you're not getting along and you're fighting, you go with the sure thing. And the sure thing is your woman, because your woman is supposed to be with you for the rest of your life, and your band may or may not. And as is often the case, you make the wrong choice. And I did the same thing. But it's a pretty amazing thing. And Ringo, I think he says even less than Yoko in it, and yet he's phenomenal. He's funny. He's on top of everything. He's completely aware of what's going on around him. He is the Michael Anthony of the situation. Keeps his mouth shut, does his part, and he's great. So anyway, what I'm saying is if you have, ooh, nice purr.
Oh,
if you have Disney Plus, you should watch the Beatles documentary. If you don't have Disney Plus, you should get Disney Plus and watch the Beatles documentary. If you like music, it's worth buying.
If you're a serious musician,
yes,
at all, you should watch this regardless.
Right. Yeah. It is really as if you're a musician, if you play music or if you ever aspired to play music for a living and you wanted to see what it can be like when it's great and what it's like when it's not great, this thing has all of that. Bucknoff, I'm going to say the only one who made something after the Beatles was Paul. Paul was certainly the best. He was certainly, and I will stand by this until I draw my final breath. Paul McCartney is by far the most talented musical individual in the Beatles. That doesn't mean that George Harrison isn't a phenomenal guitar player. He is. Although you notice that he defers to another guitar player, and I'm not going to say who it is, but he defers to another guitar player throughout the majority of this documentary. Right. He's not necessarily jealous, but envious. And he's basically saying, Paul, if you want that kind of guitar in this song, you need to call this person. Right. And they had no problem saying, hey, man, I can't do this. Let's get an outside musician to come in here and make it work, which again speaks to confidence. And they did. It's so good. It's such a good documentary. But Paul was certainly the most musically prolific. That doesn't mean that John and even Ringo, to a smaller degree, and George didn't have moments of brilliance, because they did. But Paul is certainly the most talented member.
Well,
of the
and
Beatles
also as far as who was the leader, Brian Epstein had died, just a year or so before. So
yes. And that's an interesting point.
He was like the dad. I think they even said it in the documentary, or at least in a review, that he was like the dad, and then somebody had to take over after Epstein had died.
The interesting point is these guys are almost 30 years old, and they still refer to Brian
Not
Epstein
even.
They're 28, 29 years old. Yeah. And they refer to Brian Epstein as Mr. Epstein.
Right.
They're still showing some, and Paul nails that too. They have a meeting, and again, I'm not going to give it all away, but they have a meeting, and they recognize that without a central figure to tell them what to do, where to be, what their output should be, and what everybody's roles are, they were a rudderless ship. And without a leader and without a manager, like Peter Grant did for Led Zeppelin, and like I forget the guy who did for the Who, John
Jumbiel.
Oh,
Chat. I have no
for
idea.
the Who, it was.
I forget his name.
I can't think of it. He died also. He died young too.
Yeah.
Well, someone in the chat knows.
Yeah. You know, when and Dan of New Jersey, yeah, Paul took himself very seriously when it was time to play music, but he understood that at some point you have to exhale and give other people some space. I forget the Who's manager, but he was
we're all trying to think of it right now.
Yeah, it's driving me nuts.
Somebody.
Yeah, Richard Cole just died. Keith Campbell, that's Led Zeppelin's road manager.
I hope I get it before somebody else.
Yeah, I don't want to Google it. I'd rather not Google it. But Kit something or other.
Kit Lambert.
Yeah.
Thank you. There you go.
Is it Kit? Isn't Kit
Lambert and Stamp? Chris Stamp was the other one.
Yeah.
Lambert and Stamp were the two. One, I think Kit Lambert was. Yeah, he was like a filmmaker early on, and then
that's why I think they used the name Kit Lambert in Bowfinger, right?
Maybe I don't remember that so much.
Yeah, I think that's. I'm gonna Google it now. It's driving me nuts.
It was definitely Kit Lambert.
It's Kit Lambert. Yeah,
yeah. It wasn't Steve Carmichael. No, it wasn't Steve.
No, it wasn't Steve. But he's the guy. You know, every great band needs that sort of focal point. And when Brian Epstein died, Paul became that guy.
Yeah, exactly. They needed it.
And maybe that's what happened with Van Halen when they pushed Noel Monk out of the way.
Sure. Yeah, Keith Campbell. Kit filmed them from the beginning. Yeah, one of the first before they were even called the Who. It was the High Numbers, I think.
High Numbers, yeah.
He filmed them at. It was almost like just a house party, for a short film he was making. Yes, Lambert and Stamp. There is a documentary about Lambert and Stamp. Yeah,
very cool.
So, what else is in the news? Yeah, Get Back is great, and I can't wait to watch the rest of it. It was,
it's phenomenal. It's, I mean, and there's apparently a director's cut coming out that's going to be like 10 DVDs. It's supposed to be like 50 hours of like they're going to show. Yeah, it's supposed to be amazing. It's funny. I'm getting a lot of people asking. This is going to make everybody laugh. The Head Rush is great. Still in the box. Still looks good.
Oh.
Yeah, still looks good. I've had it for a week. It's really
still in there.
Good as new. Good as new. So good. I've actually just been playing guitar just dry, man. Just for the most part this week, it's just been dry. You know, just plugged into an amp and just sort of doing my thing. These are fucking, if you're looking for a guitar that's somewhere between a Les Paul and an SG, this is your metal guitar right here. The Explorer is the way to go if you want to play heavy music, but it can also get some nice jazz tones out of it too.
Yes, very cool guitars. I've had a couple.
Yeah, Explorers are good guitars.
A few. I've had a few of those. Ish.
Yeah, they're tough to play though, because you've got a lot of wood on the outside there, and you have a tendency to smack things with them. You know, they're very long guitars.
Mm-hmm. you got to be careful. I was in a band years ago. We played a gig at a bowling alley, and you have this tiny little stage in the bar area, and I was playing an Explorer, and I remember being really careful turning around because you get this part right here. You know,
I was saying the other week when Texas Joe was on that. My second guitar was a Hondo Explorer. It was a checkerboard. What was it after?
We saw it. We looked at pictures.
Yeah, you guys looked it up. It was after Cheap Trick. You know, they're Nielsen, Rick Nielsen's checkerboard.
No, they're great. They're great guitars. By the way, just going back to the Beatles quickly, Santa Cruz 3600. George's All Things Must Pass put out after the Beatles, right? But some of the songs that were on that phenomenal album were written during the Let It Be sessions, and he presented some of that stuff in the Beatles scenario. And John and Paul's like, no, I don't think it's going to work. John's like, oh, that's shit. The fact of the matter is, it was better than what they had come up with at the time. Keep in mind, and there's a point. There's a song on Let It Be called "I Me Mine," and
I Me
fucking,
Mine.
yeah, "I Me Mine," and the way it's introduced, just the idea that "I Me Mine," which is an okay song. It's not great. It's not bad, but it's okay. I mean, in the Beatles catalog, it's okay. To another band, "I Me Mine" would be, oh my god.
I had that in my head for as soon as I had watched the first show. I can't think of it now. The way he sings.
I me mine,
I me mine.
It's almost like
lie.
Yeah, lie, 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 lie. Fucking Simon, because they all recognize that Simon and Garfunkel, and that's another thing they point out. The Beatles were aware of what was going on around them.
No.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
Too soon. We were going so well. So they come in. They come in, and the Beatles are very workmanlike. They come in every morning, and they've got their suit jackets on. Good morning, 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 morning. And they all start.
Can you some toast?
Yes, they all come in like, and George Martin is getting them drinks. Anybody need something to drink?
Yes, they're coming in on trays. Like they have servants throughout the whole.
Well, that was when they go back to the Apple Studios. They've got drink girls. But while they're in Twickenham, George Martin is serving them drinks. Sir George fucking Martin. Like the Beatles are sitting around, and anybody want anything to drink? And it was, yeah, I'll take a beer. And they go and fucking George Martin comes back with the drink order. Like you think to yourself, George Martin, like they didn't have a minion to do that for them. They did. They had like 16 minions.
Right.
Their transcriber, Mal, who is basically does the job for the Beatles, what Steve Vai did for Frank Zappa. He's a transcriber. Like the Beatles, that's the other thing. They're in there, they're creating all this. This is such a good documentary. They're sitting there creating this music, and they've got guys, they'll sit there and go, write that down. And there's a guy going,
people writing lyrics, writing notes. Yeah, all of that.
And by the way, rewriting songs. There's a point where Glyn Johns looks at the guys in the Beatles, and he makes a suggestion, and they think it's absolute shit, but they don't say anything. And the camera's on Glyn Johns, and he just goes, like, sorry.
Yeah, he was a little out of place at least from what I've seen so far, and I think a lot of them were a little bit out of their minds at certain points. Glyn Johns, he looks like he's a couple of times.
Oh yeah, he's completely high the whole time. There's also were you as creeped out by the Hare Krishnas just sitting over in the fucking corner?
Yeah.
That was creepy. Like, and then people want to creep on Yoko. Jesus, man.
After George had left, a couple of them showed up, and they're like, "Yeah, that's just the Krishnas or whatever." Like, they're looking for George.
Why are they still here?
Yeah. So funny.
The Beatles don't have albums of songs that suck. Jesus repes me. That's just not true. They have one side of an album that is absolute shit, and that's Yellow Submarine. That's garbage. But that's just because it's film score music. The Beatles did write some shitty songs. Revolution Number 9 is a piece of dog shit. It's a self-indulgent piece of dog shit. Yes.
To say be generous, it was experimental.
And and yes, Andy Carson brings up, there's a point where George has a Les Paul, a beautiful, probably an early, a 68 Les Paul when they just brought them back. And it tips over and just hits the floor and nobody does anything. There's
I missed that part. I'll have to check
it was just a guitar then.
Yeah, it wasn't an amazing guitar back then. It was just another
expendable.
Guitar.
It was expendable at that point for those guys,
Air hole. Let me out.
And now live from Caleb's trunk.
Oh, goodness. It's a recurring thing.
Wow. Yeah. When that guitar tipped over, I actually I recorded that and put that on my TikTok, actually, because that part was so cool. Right, Jay?
Hi, Jay.
Hey now.
I do like the Jim Varney over the shoulder thing. He has a head the size of head the size of mine.
Hey, Vern.
Sorry, I'm sharing the link on Facebook.
Sharing the link.
And yeah, they were drinking a lot during the whole record, which again, that's the beautiful part. The beautiful part of that band, and that's why somebody like Jay, who doesn't really like the Beatles music, can appreciate it, because It is the creative environment of musicians sitting around doing their thing. And it's so good. It makes me miss playing so much.
Yeah, that's true. But also, it's the Beatles.
The Beatles.
So if we were watching some random no-name band, you had no idea who they were, and the stuff they were coming up with was just terrible. Would that inspire you as much as this?
I think if you're a musician, you can relate to it on a totally different level. Like I have a friend of mine who works in radio in like North or South Carolina.
Well, which one is it?
I don't know.
So one of the Carolinas, somewhere in the Carolinas.
Somewhere in the Carolinas. Yes. But she her name is Krista, and she, posted when I posted something about the Get Back documentary. She read, I don't really like the Beatles. Would I like this? And my response was, I don't think so, because it's a fly on the wall perspective of a band. I'm like, and you have to really be into that part of it. So I don't know that the band matters, Johnny, because I hate the Eagles and I watched that documentary and enjoyed it. I hate Eric Clapton and I watched that documentary and enjoyed it. I think if you're a musician, you'll see it on a different level than
I
most
hate
people.
Tom Petty, and I watched the Tom Petty documentary.
That's true, man.
Yeah. So there's a level of that. If you're a musician or if you've ever played guitar or tried to create, there is a level of enjoyment that you get of that experience, because you speak that language. The fact of the matter is, if you're a musician and you speak that language and you see with the ease that the Beatles did it, it is that much more frustrating to you to go, Jesus Christ, no wonder we didn't make it. We couldn't do this. I bet
we weren't Beatles.
They are clearly, whether we like their music or not, they are the standard. They are the measuring stick, and with good fucking reason. They're just better.
I've been listening to that what's it called? The greatest
Ones,
hits.
yeah, number ones.
Yeah.
Ones. I've been listening to that in the car.
Is Johnny on fire? It's like smoke is. Oh, never mind. It's that
blurry
amazing.
effect. Yeah, and his
it's
Christmas
the
lights.
It's the blurry effect, and then it's that little thing that I have.
Johnny looks like he looks like a deodorant or a Vicks Vapor Rub commercial.
Wow. Pigpen. Looks like Pigpen.
Oh
yes,
yeah,
Pigpen.
The fumes coming off of it.
Cobra Kai Platoon asks, do I think Phil Spector ruined the album? I don't think he ruined the album, but I think that he
killed somebody.
He definitely killed somebody.
Oh my gosh.
He ruined Lana Clarkson. That much I know.
That's awful.
I might be on fire.
Yes, it is.
Boys.
It's after.
What was it? Let it be.
Be on fire. Is that what you said?
I might be on fire. Johnny looks like he's on fire. I'm on fire.
Yeah. Jay is sniping from moment one. He's already the joke sniper. I think that Phil Spector did what Phil Spector does, and the idea that the Beatles brought Phil Spector into the fold and asked him to produce this record. What did they expect they were going to get? I don't think it's as good as the Naked record, and if you dig Let It Be - Naked is the original vision of the band that Paul McCartney saw and got approval from both the estate of John Lennon and George Harrison before he passed to do. So that Let It Be is a different album with Phil Spector twisting the knobs. And, when you bring in a certain producer and that producer does a certain thing, that's what you would expect. I think that was a matter of super talent, super material, too much.
Who was it that brought in Phil Spector? Was it
I don't know.
Producers, or was it
Yoko?
I mean, was it other? Was it John Lennon? Or, yeah, obviously. Yeah, he would put his stamp right on it. It was Anyway.
Well, Paul,
Naked.
You mentioned watching something like that, and even if you're not a fan of the band or whatever it is, you still have an appreciation for it. I don't know if anybody listened to or watched the Joe Rogan Experience maybe about a week ago. What's his name? Ted Nugent was on.
The Nuge.
And
oh wow.
I like his music. I'm not a huge fan of his music, but it's I dig it. It's not like something I would turn on.
It's good rock
voluntarily.
music.
You know what I mean?
I like Damn Yankees.
Yeah, Damn
That's
Yankees.
about it.
Cool.
That's about it for me.
But you know, and obviously the song Stranglehold is awesome, right? The riff is cool as hell. But so he was on, and I watched the clip. It's about a 12-minute clip, and he starts talking about the riff, and he has his guitar with him in Joe's studio with an amp, and he starts playing the riff, and then he starts talking about like how he came up with that type of like chicka chicka, you know, that type of thing. And all of a sudden I was like, wow, I have, you know, watching somebody that's all of a sudden just gets passionate about something. And then he's talking about all his influences and everything like that. And his memory is unbelievable. I was like, crap, I don't remember stuff 2 years ago that this guy's remembering from, you know, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. And instantly, like when I got up today, I put that song on and I just listened to the riff and I was like, that is a badass riff, man.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but it's the same thing. It's like, yeah, it's cool and everything, but I'm not the biggest fan. But once you see that person really analyze and get into it and the passion again, you have like a newfound respect for it.
Jack White. I'm not a Jack White fan. I don't like the Raconteurs. I don't like the White Stripes. I'm not a fan of their music whatsoever. But when you watch the It Might Get Loud documentary and see him with Jimmy Page and The Edge talking about their, you know, and the thing about Ted Nugent is he's one of the most underrated guitar players that's ever picked up a guitar.
Actually good, man.
The problem with Ted Nugent, Ted Nugent was a bigger guitar in the mid 70s, bigger guitar player than Eddie Van Halen. I mean, Ted Nugent was up there. The big guitar players in the 70s were Jimmy Page, Ace Frehley, Ted Nugent, and like Joe Walsh. Like those were the big guys back then. Peter Frampton. Yeah, those were the big guys back then. Ted, everything post 1986 from Ted is spotty at best. The Damn Yankees thing was an amazing comeback and gave him a second life. But
that's
that
86 is generous.
Is that one of the best super groups?
Yes. Yeah,
gotta be, right?
It's certainly one of the most successful, without a doubt. But Ted Nugent, Free for All,
Wang Dang, Sweet Poontang.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of, you know, the albums. Weekend Warriors, Cat Scratch Fever. Those are all a variety of albums. Those are great records for what they are. Ted has just become so polarizing to people that I think his musical catalog and his musical ability does get sort of put off to the side. But Jay brings up a really good point. Ted is super smart. He doesn't drink. He doesn't do drugs. So he's aware of everything. Ted is also super old. He remembers a time before rock and roll.
Yeah.
And Ted is a devoted disciple of guys like Little Richard and Chuck Berry. He knows where it comes from. He knows that we have all ripped this off from rhythm and blues.
Oh, yeah.
He understands the importance of the right hand that Jay was just bringing up. Yeah. Ted Nugent is a supreme musician who I don't think ever got the right vehicle for himself because he's always been he was the Yngwie Malmsteen of his day.
Well, yeah.
Super intelligent, super asshole.
And I know you're kind of leaning towards it, but I think a lot of people, especially the generation after him, they know him because of the character and the person he is and his mouth and everything. And then they hear about his music. So you know, it's kind of I get it. And again,
it's the unfortunate part
any politics or whatever you do,
right.
But I mean,
no, but you are who you are.
Yeah.
You know, and people don't like Ted Nugent for the same reason people don't like Alec Baldwin, because they have big mouths. Although Ted Nugent never shot anybody. He did stab somebody though. Ooh. He did stab somebody allegedly. There was a radio personality out of Detroit who says that he heard a story of Ted Nugent because Ted back in the day didn't always have a gun on him. He does now, and I know where he keeps it. I know exactly where it is because I accidentally hit it when I was taking a picture of him.
It wasn't his gun, Paul.
No. Oh yes, it was. And Ted apparently had a Bowie knife on him, and somebody tried to assault Ted because Ted has always sort of been outspoken. Somebody tried to assault Ted apparently in Detroit in the 70s, and the story, as the legend goes, Ted put a Bowie knife in him.
Oh my goodness.
Don't know that he killed him, but he certainly did stab him, according to a guy named Larry Miller, who's no longer with us. But if Larry Miller tells that story, it probably happened.
Jeez.
So. Yeah, Ted is
even if you're not a fan, you got to watch that clip just to see him
Yep.
And then all of a sudden he's like, after he plays the Stranglehold riff, the whole intro part, Rogan's like, dude, look at your arms. You have goosebumps from your,
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
Look at your arms.
When was
Yeah,
that?
right?
Yeah, I got some goosebumps. Yeah, he was-
New tattoo.
when did that song come out?
75.
75. You're talking to most bands. I don't care how great the song is. After a certain amount of time of playing it every night, after a while, it's like, man, we got to play that again.
Yeah.
He still loves it, man. It still does something to him.
Such a great song.
Ted Nugent is a supremely likable guy. You may not like his politics, but you sit down with Ted Nugent, and I had him on. He co-hosted the entire show with me one morning because my partner was off on vacation. So we said, well, let's have Ted Nugent come in and co-host. And the one rule was no politics. And he tried to go there a couple of times, and we didn't. I said, Ted, we're not going to do that. He's like, all right. So we started talking about rock and roll. And Jesus Christ, he is the nicest guy in the world. He is very likable. Sure, he says some shit that is off-putting to a lot of people, but Ted Nugent, who's one of Ted Nugent's best friends? Tom Morello.
Yeah.
So you want to get an idea of how likable Ted Nugent is when a guy like Tom Morello, who is the anti-Ted Nugent in every other way with the exception of guitar and music, they both share a common love for Little Richard and the blues and the way music has come up. And that's Ted's first love is music. And his second love, and I don't know if she was on the Joe Rogan podcast, is his amazing wife, Shemaine, who is fucking the coolest. Shemaine, she's awesome. She's one of the coolest people ever. But to Jay's point, I'm sorry, I'm Texas Joeing the show tonight. It's because the passion. It's the same passion that we were just talking about. It's such a good piece of music history and such an amazing thing. If you love music, you will love watching this Beatles documentary, even if you don't even. And by the way, they play some punk songs and shit too. Like the Beatles are jamming like some of these old rhythm and blues songs, like the Ted Nugent thing, and they're jamming them like at high volume. Somebody pointed in the chat recently that there's no distortion. The Beatles didn't do distortion. No, they did distortion. It just didn't make it on the record. But they're jamming some shit, and it's like straight up punk rock.
Paul's playing the bass like he's just playing it like an organ, like he's playing it like chords, like John Entwistle.
Revolution is distortion.
Yeah, no, I know.
That was
heavy.
Heavy. That was direct into the board and cranked up the gain. I'm pretty sure that's how they did that one. It wasn't even an amp.
There's
or
some
a pedal.
tracks, some later tracks where they got heavy distortion.
Oh, sure. Yeah, there was
sure.
plenty of distortion with the Beatles, but
somebody pointed out that they weren't, all these other guys, because that's the other thing that again, there's so much in this thing that you can pull out. They were aware of what was going on. John Lennon mentions when they come back, just as an aside, did you see The Move? They were on television last night. Now, The Move was a band that Jeff Lynne was in. Jeff Lynne was a major Beatles disciple. All of ELO is basically weak Beatles. And by the way, weak Beatles, that's pretty fucking good. ELO's got some pretty good albums in there.
Then he worked with George later.
Right. They saved George's career. He resurrected George's career.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, it's so good.
It really is.
Yeah. It's so good.
I watched a few clips that popped up on my YouTube recommended thing. It was the one with Paul literally writing.
Get back.
Huh? Yeah.
Get back. Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. And
get it in 30 seconds.
You can hear all of the vocal not all of them, but a lot of the vocal melodies, just one right after the other. And that's what I love is like he probably listened back to that and was like, okay, this there, it's amazing when, because we've all written music before.
Yeah.
And it is cool when, you're working something out and things just start coming together, and figuring out what sounds cool.
Well, that goes back to what I was saying. There was another one of the tangential thoughts that come out of this documentary is George comes in one night after, they leave at like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. They go off and they do their thing. They literally were like 9 to 5ers. They get together, they do their thing. And then at 5 o'clock, all right, see you tomorrow. Goodbye. And they punch out essentially. They come back the next morning. George is like, do you want to hear a song I wrote last night? Yeah, sure. Like in between 5 o'clock that night and 9 o'clock the next morning, George went home with his guitar and goes, I'm a mine, I'm a mine, I'm a mine. All right, this is a song, and brings it in and goes, here you go. And they play the song. And the best part about it is one of the guys, I think it's either Paul or somebody else, goes, is that grammatical correct? I me mine? Is that wrong? Is that wrong? Like they're trying to, they don't want people to think they're stupid. So he goes, is that grammatically correct? I me mine?
Have you ever thought of that? You know, it's just the melody. It's just that's what it is.
Yeah. They were so fucking prolific. Just so good. That's fucking. It's
yes,
so,
the Beatles did use distortion quite a bit.
Of course they did.
But
The
when
Kinks
they're
did it
jamming,
before
when
them,
they're
though,
jamming, like just as a 4-piece, they're playing clean through their amps. You know, I think distortion, it was more of an effect than anything.
The freaking riff in "I Feel Fine" is amazing.
Day Tripper is almost distorted too. That's a sick guitar riff.
There's a lot of dirty guitar too. I mean, it's and
And out of tune guitar on that one too.
Yeah.
That's what Jay hates about it. Wasn't that your big complaint, that a lot of it was out of tune? Or
Yeah.
Well, when you to be fair, they were playing very hard. Like you see it too when they get into jamming. There's not a whole lot of touch in some of that stuff, especially in the 60s when they're playing that stuff live, and they can't hear themselves. Like they're in it wasn't like they didn't have the benefit that we have where we can sit here and put headphones on. You notice when they're in the studios, it's the four of them and Mal, who's the transcriber.
And they have a PA in this.
And they have a PA, yeah. They're playing everything, and they just have hung mics. So everything is like there was no
concept of monitoring.
There was
no concept of monitoring at all.
Yeah. If Paul can hear John and John can hear Paul, that's why they're harmonizing. Because not only are they in key, they also have the right level. It's the two of them in one microphone being recorded in mono. There's no way to separate them. They don't have two microphones, and it's fucking amazing.
And they were tuning to a piano or an organ that was in the room. They weren't tuning to I don't think they were tuning to an
oscillating
strobe
chromatic
tune, a strobe tuner or
tuner.
anything.
And
they
probably weren't as anal as we are nowadays.
Right.
Like, dude.
And there was also the British tuning too, which is a couple cents,
442.
Like 442,
Is that true?
Yeah, 442.
Yeah.
Isn't that the wrong way? Isn't it supposed to be like what's the 4?
Concert A is 442, but it's accepted 440.
No. There's supposedly a different. If we tune to something like 440, 432, is it? Or 436? It's something that supposedly that, like, when you know how they
Sorry.
You know how like they do the vibrations of nature and stuff like that, and they put like a bunch of like dirt or something on a plate or a tray or whatever, and they have a certain vibration.
It's more harmonic.
Well,
it's more tonally pleasing.
Tonally pleasing. 432.
Yeah.
E flat.
That's what they say, supposedly.
Yeah. Concert A is 442, but we accept it at 440.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. I mean,
a lot of the Beatles and Stone songs were recorded in like the 442 or 430.
Yeah, it's just so fucking good. Like, and it's the other thing is it just proves that music isn't as easy as critics would like to think. Before you sit back and say, band A sucks, sit down with a guitar and try to write the song that band A wrote, and then tell me how easy it is and how hard it is. There are a lot of bands that we all hate, and you go, they still created something and millions of people embraced it. So they did something right.
There's a reason why we're hearing them.
Yeah,
There's always a reason.
I watched. If anybody knows who Clive Davis is, and if you don't, you probably Clive Davis sat down and listened to demos of a group of different songwriters and ideas. And Clive Davis went, this song would work for Kelly Clarkson. This song would work for this one. This song would work for this one. And then every time Clive Davis would hear a song and go, yes, I hear this as a song by insert artist here. 9 months later, that song was in the top 10 because he just knew. And when you're that good, you just have to just go, you're right, sir. I defer. You defer. That's why it was so amazing to see George Martin serving drinks. George Martin didn't have to serve anybody drinks. George Martin was a fucking genius.
Sir George Martin.
Yes, he wasn't Sir at the time, but
No,
I mean,
but-
Jesus, man.
He was serve.
Yeah.
Sir-
And you're right, can't
Serving
drive.
George Martin.
And you're right, can't drive 55, and yet Mitch Malloy still can't write a hit.
Oh.
Oh,
Fuck that guy.
we had a great show. Did you?
Yeah, I
Did you-
heard. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you believe this is Mitch? Where's that picture at?
With the no hair.
Yeah.
Hey,
Where's
Cameron Brown's in the chit.
Cameron?
The originator of the Brown sound.
Let's see. There we go. Yeah, that's Mitch right there. 98.
Mm-hmm.
Cameron, does that look familiar?
He does look too. Now, if you look in this picture, which one of those guys that you think is a bigger douchebag?
Uh,
The
It's
cup.
pretty clear. He's taller, and he's a douchebag. He looks like John Hamm. I'm not John Hamm. John, what's his name from Napoleon
Heater?
Dynamite?
John
John
Biel.
Was it
John
John
Heater.
Heater?
Yeah.
It looks like John Heater. Yeah,
John Biel. Thank
John
you.
Heater with slightly better teeth.
But my
But he
lips are real
does-
bad.
He does look like Napoleon Dynamite there. Douche.
What a great movie that was.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
my God.
That's
I
one I got to
re-
go back to. Yeah.
I had
The
no
Fonda.
idea. I had no idea that was like a thing. I had no idea what Napoleon wasn't it like an MTV or MTV funded it, right? Or whatever the hell, or produced it.
Maybe.
No idea. Never heard of
I
it
don't
at
know.
all. Jeannie brought me to see it in the theater. And I was going in like, if she's bringing me to see this shit and I never heard of it, it's gotta suck. There's no way I'm gonna like it. Man, halfway through that movie, I'm like, this is funny. At
Yeah.
first you don't want to laugh, because
Napoleon Dynamite is the Big Lebowski for kids.
I've never seen The Big Lebowski.
Oh.
You would like the Big Lebowski.
Neither
don't
is
either.
Johnny.
I've heard, man.
Here's the thing about the Big Lebowski. The first time you watch it,
Do I have it
you're kind of like, I don't know. And then you go back and watch it, and you, Jay, you just drop back a couple gummies and would love the Big Lebowski because it's fucking. You
It's
go
that
back
dude's
and watch it,
birthday
it's
today.
Super cool.
I
Yeah,
saw.
it's Jeff Bridges' birthday. He's like 72 or something today.
That's
And
the-
and a cancer survivor. God love him, man.
That's the one movie that from everybody that I know.
And a
pretty
Tron
much,
survivor.
That when they find out that I've never seen it, they're like, "What, dude? You would love that movie."
It's great. It's a great movie.
It takes a few viewings, though. I the first few times I
Get it?
saw it, I didn't get it. But
All right,
yeah, I
Give
think
me
you
a
have to be in the
movie.
right state of mind.
let's go over it. Let's try to think of a movie, any genre that took you a couple viewings to
Oh, yeah.
really, whether it was to understand what was going on, whether it was to like get the humor.
Every one of Wes Anderson's movies.
Yeah, the
That's a
Coen
good-
brothers do that too. The
Coen
Coen brothers are
brothers,
tough
yeah.
sometimes. Yeah.
Stanley Kubrick. Like,
Yeah, look, when there are to quote Kramer, levels, Jerry, levels.
level.
when there are levels to a movie, just like a great song or a great album, you see and hear and experience different things. I still pull things out of Ferris Bueller and out of the Blues Brothers and out of Animal House that are just
Quentin
phenomenal.
Tarantino.
Phenomenal things, Tarantino. So Jay has a great point. There are some movies, Pulp Fiction, some movies where you don't get it the first time. Like I never got The Matrix at all. Can't Drive 55. There's a great example of
Yeah,
a
me
movie
neither.
that people love. I don't.
Because we're in it.
Yes, we're living it right now. Yeah, that's a good question, Jay. I'm trying to think of a movie that, The Matrix.
Some of my favorite movies. are
No
the
Country
ones that
for
you
Old
have-
Men. I didn't get.
Oh yeah,
Ah,
Coen Brothers.
Yeah.
Who
The
was
end, right? Wasn't it the end? Something weird was
The
at
end,
the
yeah,
end.
that speech, the whole speech that Tommy Lee Jones does at the end is confusing as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, about the old Country for
Yeah.
Old Men. Yeah, I love such a great movie, and it
But they wasted a lot of things. Like Woody Harrelson is wasted in that movie. Like his scene is
man.
great, but he's such a small part.
that's in my opinion one of the it's one of the best Coen Brothers movies, but it's almost a perfect movie. It's just so good, like everything, every moment of it. And it's like 2.5 hours, and it goes by, and like it goes by quicker than you'd think. Any movie, there's any of those movies that are like over 2 hours that by the end you're not like, oh, when is it over? It's over. It's been over like 3 times. Some of the movies that end a half hour before the movie actually ends, and it's like you didn't need that last half hour or whatever. But naturally,
Kind of like this.
That last
need that last
monologue.
half hour.
That last monologue by John BL.
Oh,
That's what I was going for.
here comes and Jay picking his shot.
Here you go.
Swish, nothing but net.
Well, yeah. What was it? All the Christian Bale movies in the Dark Knight trilogy. Who was that? Christopher Nolan.
Batman? Perhaps
Christopher Nolan.
Batman?
No, I'm thinking of the Christopher Nolan movies. Those are like, those are great movies. They're long, but they're,
Yeah, there's a great
compelling.
one. 2001: A Space Odyssey, AI gaming, and Clockwork Orange too. Clockwork Orange is a movie that some people don't get. I mean,
I tried watching that, never finished
yeah, it's
it.
tough. It's tough to
Yeah.
get through. That's the point. It's like a lot of Kubrick movies. It lasts
grows
too
on you,
fucking
though.
long.
It grows
It's too
on you.
long.
It's not even 2 hours. I don't think that's even. Space Odyssey might be 2 hours, but
There's a difference there.
but they grow. I mean, yes, I'll admit the
John,
first
there's
few
a
times
difference.
I've seen them.
Length is not necessarily the length of the movie isn't necessarily commensurate with the entertainment of it. I mean, the Godfather 2 is fucking 4.5 hours long, and it's not long enough. Like I was like, Jesus, it's over already. Whereas something like Clockwork Orange is 2 hours long, and you're like, Jesus, this should have been over 45 minutes ago. You know what I mean?
It took me a few viewings, but Clockwork Orange is a good, from beginning to end. It's a great movie.
It's tough.
It's in my.
It's tough.
It's all right.
Yeah.
I validate your opinion.
Yeah, some of them. I mean, look, The Deer Hunter. The Deer Hunter
That
takes
was
a couple of views to watch.
I saw the trailer of that.
long. There you go.
You know, Christopher Walken. He'll be damned. He's going to hear your speech.
Shove his watch up his ass.
He's a little man. Have I heard a lot about you? I'll tell you the story. Airman, name of Wanaki.
I got one. How about Donnie Darko?
Yeah,
I haven't seen it since in 20
Never saw
years.
it.
yeah.
Oh,
I've
man,
seen it once.
See, that I watched that movie and I was like, I like this movie a lot. What the hell?
I don't know what just happened.
I don't know what the hell just happened. And then
It's funny. Go ahead. Do you think?
no, I was gonna say, and then after watching it a few more times, and of course reading on the internet, you're like, oh
helps.
my god,
It helps.
that's brilliant.
Cheating.
Mega Todd brings up Fight Club. Fight Club is a cooler version of The Sixth Sense. You're like once you figure out what's going on in Fight Club, you
Oh,
go,
yeah.
oh, that. Like that's one of those moments where the first time you see it, you're like, what the fuck just happened?
It took me
And
like
then-
5 years to get to watch that, and then when I finally watched it, it was so great. Such a good
Yeah.
movie.
What a pretty good curveball for Sixth Sense, though, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I did
and the
not
same,
see that coming at all.
and the same thing with Fight Club, though. Fight Club is.
But
is
you
that,
can watch
so-
Fight Club over and over. You
Right.
can't watch
you
Sixth
can't
Sense
watch The
over
Sixth
and
Sense
over.
over and over. No, because
No,
once
you
you
gotta
know this,
watch it. You gotta watch it and just know, like, try to think, like, nobody else can see him.
Yeah.
He's not, that's the cool part. Watching it again.
yeah, yeah, you're right. Be right. Fret level midnight. There's a lot of that. Hyper masculine presentation in movies that are people dealing with their own femininity. Sure.
What?
I've never seen Fight Club either.
That was Darren
You like
Aronofsky,
Fight
and I
Club.
think he did The Wrestler too.
I saw
I
it.
That's the
I
same
started
theme.
watching Fight Club and I turned it
Yeah.
off.
Well, Darren Aronofsky. Yeah. That movie, The Wrestler, is also another about one man's fragility and dealing with
Right.
his own femininity.
That was a great movie.
It's a fantastic movie.
Trying to think of a comedy. What's the ice skating Will Ferrell movie?
Blades
Oh.
of Glory.
Blades of Glory. I remember watching that the first time, like, it's a couple laughs in it.
Yeah.
Then watching it again, like, oh my god, this is fun.
Here's one for you. Waiting for Guffman.
Never saw it.
Yes.
That was
a tough
about-
one.
putting on the play or something. Was that
yeah,
was the
that's
one
a,
where they
that's a tough one. That's one of those.
well, the Christopher
Second
Guest
City.
movies,
Yeah,
That was
anything
the,
with Christopher Guest can be.
Spinal Tap, and
It's like a
Best in
Spinal Tap.
Show.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Oh,
It's a
It's the same
mockumentary type
formula.
thing.
The formula,
Yeah, A Mighty Wind.
Yep.
They're great movies. I like them.
I've
too,
seen
yeah.
all of these now.
But-
Now you guys
but-
are talking my language.
But if you
Yeah.
can't, but if you're not in that frame of mind, it's some people don't get it. I'll give you a great one. My on-air partner Mark.
No, you can say
Uttered-
your partner. Go ahead.
He uttered the sacrilegious line, "I don't like the Princess Bride."
Oh, I don't know anybody that doesn't like that movie.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
It's like crying at the end of Rudy. Every guy, it's acceptable for
Yeah.
every guy to love the Princess Bride. You have to like the most. I know Hell's Angels that like the Princess Bride.
Yeah.
The Princess Bride is fucking awesome.
I gotta watch
And
that
if you-
again though.
I also have another friend of mine who used to work in Reno radio. His name is Chris Payne. So anybody that's up in Reno, Nevada that might be watching, say hello to Chris Payne. Chris Payne says he shut Spinal Tap off because he didn't get it.
That's another movie that gets better after
Yes.
you watch it a few times.
Do you own it on DVD?
David, I have the DVD.
DVD? Watch it with the director's cuts on, the commentary.
Commentary with they're
Holy
in character.
shit!
Yeah.
It's another whole movie.
They're in character.
They're in character
and,
the whole
and
time.
the delited scenes was
Yeah.
like an hour and a half, and it's
that's
all
brilliant. Yeah, I don't
it's
have
almost
the,
a movie unto
The
itself.
big deluxe version.
Imagine Spinal Tap, Mystery Science Theater 3000, doing Spinal Tap in character.
Doing their
It's
own movie. Yeah.
So fucking
Oh.
good. Oh, it's another whole movie. I mean, literally.
I'm gonna ask Santa for the DVD, the Blu-ray DVD.
DVD.
Somebody brought up Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. Again, Wes Anderson movies.
Yeah,
they're
they
some
can
of my
be.
favorite, but you got to watch them multiple times to really get the most out of it.
Wow.
You know what? Santa Cruz 3600. I'm with you. I thought Lost Boys was a terrible movie. I watched it because Jamie Gertz is in it, but it's a terrible movie. Just like Roadhouse. Roadhouse is a terrible movie, but you watch it.
No,
it's
it's
a terrible.
It's
It's terrible, but it's awesome.
Just yeah.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
it's so bad. I mean, and it's been on the dish this month, and every time I go by it, I stop. I'm like, I gotta watch
Yeah,
it. It's fucking
it's a
awful.
movie
Roadhouse.
You know, it's another movie like that. That no matter if you flip past it, it's Tombstone, one of the greatest movies
Yes.
of all time.
150.
I don't know anybody that doesn't like that one.
Here's the only thing.
I never saw it.
Tombstone
Johnny.
Tombstone versus Wyatt Earp. One of the great arguments of all time
Never
is
saw either one.
Val Kilmer versus Dennis Quaid in their portrayals of Doc Holliday.
Yeah.
They were both perfect. Like I
They're both
want to
good.
love one over the other, but you can't.
It's Kilmer.
And-
No, it's Kilmer.
It's not because there's most of the time it's Kilmer, but then there's that part in Wyatt Earp where Dennis Quaid is getting his head dunked in the trough, the horse trough,
Mm.
because he's fucked up and he's been beaten up, and he comes up and he wipes his hair out like this, the shit out of his hair, and he turns to look at the crowd that's all gathered to watch him having his face, and he goes, "Y'all can suck my rebel dick," and I'm like, that's his "I'm your Huckleberry."
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'll take Kilmer. And yeah, Randy Price
They're
said
both-
about Kilmer any day.
I can't
They're
even think of the
both-
difference between the two myself. I think I've got them both probably pretty much in the same kind of movie.
So am I in the minority that when I compare both of those movies, it's almost like the Transformers versus the GoBots. Like
somewhat.
Like Wyatt Earp is a little cornier and just not as like badass.
Well, the actors in Tombstone are significantly better too. I mean, you've got a better the Earp family is better cast. Plus, you got Dana Delaney. Hello.
Swing.
Yeah, I mean, it's
That was Jay's line. Sorry.
yeah. Wyatt Earp is
timed.
good. And Dennis Quaid has that moment. That's the only memorable moment of Wyatt Earp versus Tombstone, which is pretty fucking good start to finish.
Yeah.
Especially the Val Kilmer milk creamer scene in the fucking casino is hilarious. That is, Jesus, that is so good.
And also what's his name? Johnny Ringo
Johnny Ringo.
was what's his name? Michael Bain from Terminator. He was Kyle Reese. I thought he played a great role in that. In
And
that
Thomas Hayden Church too.
Yeah,
There were
Thomas
so
Hayden
many
Church.
people. Yeah, so many.
Yeah, I mean, it's
cameos and not
it's a
even
better
cameos,
movie.
Great roles.
yeah.
Can't
It's a
Drive
better
55 brings up Young Guns. What was your favorite Western?
Well, I mean, you can't top Tombstone, but Silverado is pretty fucking good.
I love the old
Clint
spaghetti
Eastwood-
westerns.
The Clint Eastwood,
Yeah, the Clint
Westerns
Eastwoods.
are always great.
Yep.
The Wild Bunch.
That's
Sam
not Clint
Peckinpah.
Eastwood.
No, but Sam
But yeah.
Peckinpah's Wild Bunch is pretty fucking good.
Yeah, the 60s and 70s ones were some of the best ones.
The worst Mr. Eastwood's worst Western I've seen so far is that Two Mules for Sarah. What is that?
Two Fools for Sister Sarah. Yeah.
Oh my God! What a
Unfor-
shitty movie! What a shitty
Unforgiven is
movie!
Unforgiven is Clint Eastwood's best Western. Unforgiven
yeah.
is fucking awesome.
That's an epic.
I thought it was a little over the top, unbelievable. Is what I thought when I watched that.
Yeah, but Gene Hackman is fucking so good in it.
Yeah, he takes the spotlight on that one. man.
Actually,
Yeah,
back to No Country for Old Men. That was a Western. That was a great Western.
Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, The Outlaw Jesse Wales.
Yeah, I'm Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, there you go, right up there.
Blazing Saddles. It's not a Western, but it's a Western.
Oh, it's a Western. Sure, yeah.
But it's so good.
I'll give you that.
So fucking good.
All right, since it's
By the way, next time you're watching Blazing Saddles, just point out something.
don't have your windows open.
No. Sheriff, I'm real sorry about that. Up yours earlier. When you're watching Blazing Saddles, that scene where the fight ends up spilling over into the musical number,
Mhm.
where Dom DeLuise is the director, watch the two guys swimming in the pool. One of them is Burt Reynolds.
Oh, really? With
really?
or without the mustache?
Without the mustache, yeah. Without the
I
mustache.
don't recognize them.
There's that scene where they're doing the backstroke together in the pool while the fight scene is going on. One of those guys is Burt Reynolds.
Wow.
He did a cameo just for the fun of it.
Hey, guy, I'm gonna come hang out. Is that cool on set? Yeah. Why don't you jump?
Right.
Take off your clothes. Jump in the pool.
Yeah, just so. By the way, there's an argument to be made that Star Wars is a Western with just different costumes.
Yeah.
Well, and a different.
That's
Setting.
the idea
time and
behind it.
whatever.
Yeah, it's a Western.
Futuristic Western.
It's a Western in space.
Yep.
is
Well,
what they called it.
the Mandalorian is a Western.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian is kung fu.
I like that. I didn't think I'd like that. That series.
What, the Mandalorian?
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna say it. She's a little thick, but I'm
Yeah.
I'm on the Gina Carano train.
She was such a shit actress in that. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
she's awful. She's
Oh
awful.
God.
But
God.
I know she's a little thick. I don't care. I'm also a little thick. I'll take it. I would wrestle Gina Carano and lose that fight willingly. I have no problem. I have no problem with girl curves. None.
Man, when Cyborg all steroided up beat the crap out, I
No.
felt bad for Gina Carano.
See, that's gross.
Yeah.
Chris Cyborg is gross. Gina Carano, not gross.
Yeah.
Gina Carano's sweet. Hell yeah.
I bet after a fight too, I bet, you know.
Right.
She's awesome.
Don't shower. What are you doing? Don't What are you, nuts?
Yeah, I'd let her grapevine crucifix me all night long.
Back to the Future 3, and there's another Western. I had that.
You know, I will tell you, there's another one of my weird Hollywood crushes. I'm sort of on the Mary Steenburgen train too.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I thought you were going to say
Especially-
Christopher Lloyd.
Even an elf.
yeah, especially in Step Brothers too. In Step Brothers, you're like, hell yeah, Mary
Oh,
Steenburgen. I'm in.
Yeah, I might.
Yeah. Yep. You ain't lying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something about her, man. There's something
She
about
lost it. She went to the plastic surgeon once too many times in The Last Man on Earth.
her. Oh.
Oh man,
Still a pretty funny show, but you look at her and you're like, okay.
I didn't watch that. No.
Anybody that goes to it's Last Man on Earth is pretty good.
Was that
pretty
Will
good, pretty good.
Will Forte? Will
Yeah, Will
Arnett?
Forte. It was a pretty well done show. But as is always the case, just like steroids, if one is good, 10 is better, 15 is too much, and
Yeah.
everybody goes to 20.
And you know it. You know they've gone too far once you see a picture or a movie or something with them in it, and you're like, is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, once you don't, you have to think about it right before you know, as soon as you see them, that's when you're like, oh no, they you know, the balloon lips. Why do they do that?
Yeah, well, there's a great Melanie Griffith is a great example of that.
Yes.
E flat 916.
She
And
was
I,
hot.
you know, I will go
Way to
with
end your
and
career.
as far as I know, she only did it once, but it was enough to fuck her up. Jennifer Grey.
Mm-hmm.
I like Jennifer Grey pre-nose job. I thought the pre-nose job. I thought, and did she look? Was she uncharacteristically attractive? Yes, and that's what I liked about her. There was a uniqueness about her that I think was super attractive.
Yeah, she wasn't a cookie cutter hot piece of anus. She was.
Yeah, she didn't. She wasn't. There was something about her that was just like Jules Snaggletooth,
right?
You know.
Yeah.
And Wayno, Christina Hendricks, absolutely. Again, there's another example of big girl curves that I'm on board with. Hell yeah. I ain't mad at you. You know, remember
Jenny Hendricks too.
Remember,
am I the only one?
Jimi Hendrix, yeah.
Jenny Hendricks.
Oh. I don't even know who that is.
You will after the show.
Did you see?
I'll get that text message at 4 a.m. I'm still up.
Did you see the
Literally.
Can't stop.
I forget. It was
I'm out of tissue.
did you see the meme of stepmothers, and it's Brandy Love and shit. Can't remember her name.
John Biel.
I don't know.
Blonde, black hair, super curvy.
Rosie
That
O'Donnell.
narrows it down.
She's one of those. No, she's one of those Ava. One of those type. Ava
Longoria?
Adams. Ava Adams and Brandy Love.
Ava Divine.
No, Ava Devine is gross. Ava Adams and Brandy Love next to each other, like with their arms on each other's shoulder. Stepmothers. So I was like, yeah.
Yes. Yep. I've seen that cover as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I would say Mega Todd 707. Caitlyn Jenner looks a little too much Botox. Doesn't look natural. You know, really takes away from her femininity.
Right. Okay.
Oh wait, I'm thinking of one of the what are the daughters' names again?
Yeah. That just light just went on in
Kylie.
in Jay's head.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Kylie, you're thinking of Kylie Jenner.
Who was the radio host that they were looking at? What magazine was Caitlyn Jenner on? And they were looking at it, and they were like, "Oh man, this chick is hot." And all of a sudden they're like, "Wait a minute, what show was it on?" It was on I thought it was on like a popular radio.
Probably
show.
was. I don't know. I haven't seen any of it.
Well, I think I showed Jay. I might have sent Jay or Caleb or both of them a picture of somebody who every time they post pictures on Facebook, it's a thirst trap picture. And everybody's like, oh my God, you're so hot. Oh my God, you're so hot. And I'm like, yeah, that's a guy.
Dude,
yeah. And if any of these guys, because this woman posts thirst trap pictures all the time of like her in a bikini with her tits all pushed up and all this shit. And yeah. And you can tell, here's how you can tell, man hands. You can, if you go and you
can't hide it.
That scene in Seinfeld with breaking the bread.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The lobster.
She
was tearing apart the lobster too.
Yeah.
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 Man hands.
Hands. Oh my God.
Let me get that beer for you. She had man hands. Oh.
Yeah, man hands are.
What did that actress ever do after that? You know.
What was it? Yeah, whose hands were they?
Oh, it was definitely a man's hands, I would say.
They were. Who the hell's hands were they? I forget who they were.
Probably like Larry David or something like that. No, he wasn't that. He wasn't that. I don't think he had the manliest hands.
Yeah, that's not a twist off.
that's not. There you go. That's not a twist off. Here, let me get that.
The nose pick is such a great scene.
Oh, so many good.
It's funny. I've not watched. I was never on board with Seinfeld as a devotee. Like if it was on, I'd watch it. but I'm not in on the Seinfeld lingo and all of the jokes that come with it. So I have the entire series on DVD in the Jerry
Favorite
refrigerator. In the refrigerator, somebody gave me the entire series in the little display refrigerator, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'll have to watch that.
So you haven't. I can't believe you haven't been Seinfeld since the beginning, man.
I loved Jerry
good.
Seinfeld as a stand-up comedian on the Young Comedian special with Rodney Dangerfield. That Young Comedian special had Jerry Seinfeld, Bob Nelson,
Bob Nelson's awesome.
Bob Saget, Roseanne Barr, and Sam Kinison on it. Gee, there's not a whole.
Yeah.
Rodney didn't know who had talent. Rodney couldn't find talent, could he?
Jeez.
Jesus. Everybody on that. Oh, and Larry Miller, I think, is on that special as well. Larry Miller, who is a great stand-up that you don't really know.
He was also in
as a stand-up.
Seinfeld.
Yes.
The doorman, I think.
Yeah.
I love watching the Seinfeld bloopers, man. Oh my god.
Oh,
when
those
they
are
start,
great. Yeah.
because Kramer, it's him all the time. He does something, it's pipe night, and he walks in with the friggin'
And he's just like
Kramer, your face looks like an old catcher's mitt. Such a great line. He starts laughing. Jerry,
What's funny
come
is
on.
Michael Richards and Randy Quaid are very similar in that way, in that they put out a body of work that is really was universally embraced until they snapped.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then they snapped, and when they snapped, it sort of wiped all of that off the table. For those that have never seen it, go watch Michael Richards when he was on Fridays, which was also created by Larry David, or he was a cast member on it.
Yeah, he was. I was going to say, I don't think
He was a great cast member on it, but that's where Andy Kaufman did the vertical hold joke that had everybody in America slapping the side of their television. It was brilliant comedy. But there's a skit where Michael Richards is playing G.I. Joe Army Men, and he assaults and molests all the Barbie dolls that his sister has. And he's like and he sets them on fire, and he's like raping them. And it's like, I'm like, this is the worst, most inappropriate shit to be showing on network
That got
television.
aired now.
And you could never get away with this now. It was so wrong in every way. Michael Richards was way ahead of his time. It was almost like the Dana Carvey show.
UHF, Stanley Spadowski.
UHF, and was he in Airheads? Was he in Airheads?
Yes, he was great in Airheads too, as the sales guy.
That's right. All of his B rolls, yeah.
Yeah, no, Michael Richards is I think his at Transylvania 65000. He's great in that. He's one of those guys that, has this amazing career that was sort of lost with one word.
Yeah.
But the thing about Michael Ray, whenever you watch those old interviews and stuff, talking about Seinfeld and just any interview, it's almost like a letdown, because you see this lively, just kooky character that looks so believable. He looks like that should be his personality, And then you see him kind of just
an interview with Ed O'Neill.
I don't know if
Think of Al Bundy.
Oh, Ed O'Neill.
Oh yeah. I thought you
see
meant
an interview with
I
him.
thought you meant them two talking.
No. I'm saying you see an interview with Ed O'Neill and you expect him to be Al Bundy, and then you realize he's this soft-spoken, mellow dude, and you're like,
it's kind of like a letdown almost, right?
Can be, yeah.
You want him to be that person.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael Richards is very quiet.
Laid back.
He's like a lot of stand-up comedians are like that, like a Steve
Tom
Martin.
Herrera was like that.
Very quiet, and
Gilbert Gottfried
at the mic.
But I think it's a very cool, and I'm not an actor, so maybe it's not that difficult, but to completely change your entire everything, if you're a real calm person and then you get crazy.
Yeah.
I think it would be easier if you're like a crazy person to be calm and quiet in a role.
This is why David Lee Roth is so exhausting. Because he's always David Lee Roth. He never shuts it off. You can't, and that's why guys like Jim Carrey started to wear out their welcome, and Robin Williams, because you can't be that person all the time. It's fucking exhausting.
It's like the same thing with music. If a guitar player is just playing solos the whole time, after a while, it's like, all right, that's too much.
It's enough.
Yngwie. Yeah, there you go.
Yngwie, when's the last time you saw Yngwie Malmsteen pick up an acoustic? That's one of the things that makes Zakk Wylde tolerable. It's because Zakk Wylde is a great dude and he's a great guitar player, but Jesus, enough. Slow down once in a while. Like take the leather vest off and just be Jeff.
Didn't you play the Hello Kitty guitar?
Yeah, when he does stuff like that, when he picks up an acoustic guitar, sort of like with Hendrix. My favorite stuff with Jimi Hendrix is when he's sitting there with that acoustic guitar doing the blues. He's just there with the white background. And he's on the stool
12
with
string.
and he's just sitting there playing with a 12 string. That's my favorite Hendrix because he's not being Jimi Hendrix, the wild man from Borneo. He's not being that super like masculine, hyper masculine. I can fucking out shred everybody. He's just a guy with a guitar playing music, and that's beautiful when you can see, going back to the Get Back thing with the Beatles, when you can see those guys just break down and have fun and do something that is unexpected of them. You see behind their persona. That's great.
Randy Savage.
Vistalite says
Randy
Rodney
Savage was
Dangerfield.
exhausting.
Same
Yeah,
Started off-
person, right? Same person on camera as
Yeah.
he was off camera.
he was exhausting.
I thought Rodney Dangerfield's first role was in Caddyshack. I don't know. I could be wrong. But Vistalite says he started off as a serious actor. I think.
Well, so did Leslie Nielsen.
Leslie Nielsen. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was a voiceover actor, and then he did some serious roles before he was a comedian.
So what would have been Leslie Nielsen's first like role that basically made him?
Well, for us, it's Airplane.
That's
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
But he played
For us,
he
for
was-
our generation, it's Airplane. But he was. You know who else thought himself as being a leading man? You'll love this one. Shemp Howard.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
I watched the documentary not too long ago talking about that.
Shemp was. He was part of the Stooges. When Ted What's His Face was basically running them, and they were basically his Stooges.
Yep.
And Shemp thought himself, okay, I can't do this. I'm too good looking for this. I'm too good looking, and I'm a Hollywood leading man. So I'm going to leave, and my brother Jerome is going to take my slot. And he went off to be a leading.
Crush.
Yeah,
I love Curly, man.
yeah. And then he had the stroke.
Yeah.
And it was sad to watch. So Shemp came back. But Shemp Howard we'll talk about one of the great mistimed career moves. When you think to yourself, great leading men of that area, of that era, Gary Cooper and Clark Gable. Shemp Howard?
And he ends up being a stooge.
Yeah. But
I like
there's
the
an
Shemp stuff,
argument to be made, he was the best stooge because he could do it all. Him and Larry could do it all. Shemp could do all of it. He was also not acting in a lot of that stuff. He really was anxiety laden and neurotic and insane.
He really was mad.
Yeah. Yeah, Curly was outstanding. Curly was a philanthropist and just an all around. So the Stooges again, another. You talk about levels, Jerry. Levels. Yep, there he is, Hollywood leading man, Shemp Howard.
That's
Mo?
that's Shemp?
That's
Man,
Shemp.
Mo and Shemp look goddamn.
Yeah,
They look alike.
yep. Shemp was
No, he was serious. He was a
Yep.
serious actor.
Samuel Horowitz.
Yep.
Wow. I've got that box set,
Yep,
but
me
I
too.
don't
love
have
me
a DVD
Stooges,
player
man.
anymore, so I can't watch it.
I love me some Stooges. God.
I never got into the Stooges so much.
Oh man, go back and watch it again. It's that levels thing that we're
Abbott and
talking about.
Costello and the Marx Brothers. That was my
Look
stuff.
at Shemp in that
Oh, my
picture on the left. Shemp looks like he shaved with a shotgun.
Ah, Danny Trejo
Yeah, Danny Trejo face.
face.
That's the catches, man.
Huh?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he's definitely Yogi Berra face.
Oh yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, he does look like Mo. They look the same. I think Shemp was older. Shemp was the oldest brother. Samuel Horowitz, Morris Horowitz, Jerome Horowitz. They were all brothers. Some people don't know that either, that those three were brothers.
Mhm.
And that Larry was the Michael Anthony of the situation. He'll never be one of the brothers.
Hmm.
He was
God
never
damn it,
treated
he
the
was-
same because of
God
that,
damn it,
because
he
he
was
wasn't
fun.
family.
He was so oh my god.
Larry's great.
Larry's fun to watch when he's in the background and Mo is like beating up Curly or something. Larry's just looking on, like the hell's going on over there?
Or when Larry approves of it, he's happy that someone else is getting their ass kicked
Yeah.
instead of him. He's like, "Yay!"
Yeah, shut up. Yeah. Hey man.
Mo.
Speaking of leading men,
Uh,
see what I did there?
I lead men on.
Oh,
Oh man.
the Shemp of Straturday night, Caleb Rappaport.
Oh,
The Shemp.
well, better than the Curly Joe of Straturday Night.
Yes, you don't want to be Curly Joe.
Or Joe
Oh, that
Dorita.
guy's- Curly Joe was the worst.
Yeah, you
And
gotta watch the
Joe
earlier-
Besser sucked too.
What?
Joe Besser sucked too.
Oh God,
Joe-
yeah.
Yeah, they were all bad.
Wow.
Look at the young Larry ones are the best. When Larry's young and thin, those are the best ones. Man. Like
I mean,
Disorder
that's
in
where
the Court.
that's Stimpy.
Disorder
Stimpy
in
is
the
based
Court.
on Larry Fine. When you listen to Ren and Stimpy, Stimpy's voice is Billy West doing his Larry Fine impression.
Porcupine.
Oh, there you go. There you go, right there in the middle.
Boy.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Curly Joe.
That's right, Keith Campbell. This is the first piece of EVH merch, apparently, ever. Right here.
Ever.
Ever. Oh.
Yeah, I don't want to say that Caleb has become a complete whore for the brand, but look at how many different EVH logos you see on this screen.
Hey, at least
There's another one.
I don't have $1,000 EVH sign though.
No, you do not.
I don't. There's only a select few that possess one of those.
Yeah. Is it real or is it a fake EVH sign?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
My money's on fake.
Fake. In fact, screen name, fake EVH sign.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's taken.
Yeah, could be.
So what's up? Did I miss any good subjects? Did we already go over Mitch Malloy or what?
Mitch Malloy is the Curly Joe of Van Halen.
we talked about Mitch Malloy for about as long as he was in the band for.
Yep. We gave him the proper amount of respect and coverage. He's had enough coverage. I think it's over. I hope.
Oh,
Cameron Brown's back. That's a
Get in
Pavlovian
here, dude.
response.
What?
dude,
You
get
know
him
what?
in here.
I know
Bring
that guy.
Cameron in. Come on.
Cameron Brown.
You want the link?
Cameron
Yeah, bring him
Brown. Mitch is Cameron Brown's Twitch.
Jeez.
And it's about 6 a.m. there? Where Cameron is? The sun's coming up. Dude, it's the morning. Get up. Get out of bed.
Yeah. Get your day started.
Yeah, grab a bowl of cereal and get on.
Probably up all night already.
Oh yeah.
Thanks, Caleb.
Yeah.
Bring in the class to the show.
Keith Brethel, these are dummies. Okay. I have 9.
No, dude,
dummies.
come on.
Wait a second.
Whoa,
Wait,
what's
not
going on
these
here?
guys.
For yourself.
Your mic works.
these
Your
guys.
mic works.
Hot mic.
Hot mic.
These EVH heads are dummies. They're not real.
What?
See?
The one on your shirt? No.
The funny thing about it is, though, little by little, do they have boards in them that you could get tubes for, or you just empty?
Yeah. No, they have.
What do you
the
have to do to make
They have the circles and everything. They just don't have like the brains and.
So you could little by little, you could buy the tubes one at a time, or maybe be like Johnny and put on an Amazon want list and put the components for those heads and get people to send you stuff on Amazon, like Johnny.
Wait, Johnny has one of those?
Oh yeah.
Look at
How do you think I get all this stuff?
What's up with your camera? That is so weird. What's going on?
That's his NFL high definition Patrick Mahomes camera.
That's
Whoa.
the newest StreamYard feature. Is it blurs out your background?
No, he's talking about the pig pen.
Huh?
You talking about the smoke coming off of them?
No, I'm talking about that unfocused feature.
bandwidth?
You can do it too.
I
Yeah.
can't
Two can do
Yeah, it's called blur. It's just the new blur
It's called
feature
Blur. Where is it?
Blur.
from StreamYard.
It's in Leave Studio. Click that.
Bye.
Look, every time somebody says something witty or sarcastic, just look at Ernest's face.
You know what that is? That's Shemp.
Yeah,
Burn.
yeah.
That's Jim Varney doing Shemp Howard right there.
One of my favorite characters that he does in the Ernest movie is the not the mother's good, but when he does like the businessman looking guy with the suit and the slick back hair, his laugh when he when he does that. Oh my god!
Remember his Saturday morning TV show?
Hey Vern.
Hey Vern, and he would
Hey,
do, yeah,
Vern.
he would do the haircuts, and then he did like the you know, and they would all be different styles of, and then he would do like the businessman or something. And
that was clearly his version of Pee Wee Herman. He was trying to do what there was that period of time where
big
adults playing sort of childish characters was a thing.
for about a season
How
or
many
two.
watching?
What?
How many we got?
Anybody?
109.
Right now.
Nice.
111.
109.
Fantastic.
Hey, I should do thumbs up. Everyone do thumbs up.
Yeah.
I haven't done a thumbs
Smash
up. Here
it.
you go. There's a
Where's
thumbs up.
everybody from?
Smash it.
Yeah, we didn't even do that. Caleb's getting the show started.
Oh yeah, we didn't even do like who's here.
Well, it's an hour and 40 minutes later.
Yeah,
They're already here.
I gotta go.
Welcome, everybody.
You gotta
Roll
go.
call.
Handled.
There's another show starting soon, so I gotta, not tonight.
Wow.
That was
So
good.
did
look
you
at his face. Look at Ernest's face. See?
What?
So did you guys talk
Kind of
about
like
the
Jay's
Roth,
face.
Did you talk about the Roth revelation?
No, we've been having fun.
None of us watched it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we referenced it briefly and gave it the right amount of respect.
Respect.
What's your take on that, Paul? Caleb?
What's my take? Well, I've heard it before. I've heard it mentioned that the Stripes were Dave's idea, but there's that guy from the Dills, right? That
Mhm.
kind of blows that out of the water. So if it was Dave's idea, then Dave saw the guy from the Dills with the striped Les Paul.
Brings
black
us
and
back
white.
to Cryptomnesia.
That's what, he said that on his radio show back in 2007.
He said that it was the Dills guitar player.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if he,
So
I don't know
it's-
if he mentioned the Dill. I don't know if he mentioned the band.
Do you have that
I
picture,
forget.
John?
It's been a few years since I listened to the clip.
Right. So there's that little piece of fact. But what was weird about the way Dave described it was that he made it seem like Frankenstein was already white, but we know it was black. And then he taped it, and then he painted it white, and then peeled. But Dave's trying to make it sound like that the thick black stripes on the Frankenstein are electrical tape, which it always kind of looked like to me, over a white body. So I don't know what's the truth anymore. But he even got into the detail about the squiggle.
Oh, chubby up.
Holy
was
crap!
me.
Turn down your
alert.
alerts. Turn down.
Who's
your
taking
alert.
Who's taking more credit for Van Halen's success, David Lee Roth or Mitch Malloy these days?
It's a tie.
Yeah.
It's a tie. But it's a weird one. It's weird for him to just come out with this now. And it's
Well,
just
I think he's last confessions of David Lee Roth.
maybe.
The thing is,
And
David
it's
Lee
weird
Roth-
how he always has to throw in that, like, I'm talking with Al Van Halen and we're laughing like pirates, like, and it's the same thing he said in the Rogan interview, and it's
So how much?
To
Who's
me,
taking? Who's
yeah.
making more comments? David Lee Roth about talking with Alex Van Halen, or Gene Simmons talking about discovering Van Halen?
I don't know, but
Because Gene is doing that again now too. He's all of a sudden, I found them.
yeah,
Everybody's sucking off the Eddie Teat these
we
days.
know, dude. We know. Well, everyone's trying to stake their claim, because they know the most, litigious person in the world is gone. So now they can pounce. And that's why Mitch is doing what he's doing. He thinks no one's going to have the balls to pounce on what he's doing with the logo. And I just want to make something clear, especially for Mitch Malloy fans who are watching, or Mitch himself who's watching. I don't know, but I have no problem with what you're doing with Pete Thorne and the experience and all that. But I do know that the one thing I never do with my tribute is I never use the logo and sell it. I never sell anything with the logo on it. And Mitch, you're selling merchandise with the logo on it. with the VH on it, and that's a bit much in my book. So that, and it's a little bit cheesy to me to wait till Eddie passes and then create the experience, your Van Halen experience. It's a weird timing for it. And
if it was the real Mitch Malloy Van Halen experience, it should just be him. The show starts, the lights come up, he comes out from backstage, walks across the stage, he goes behind the curtain, and the show's over.
Right. Or it's just him. No, it's him in a chair, and there's like a stool next to him with a phone on it, and he just sits there.
Oh.
Waiting for the phone to ring.
Here's where
Maybe that would work.
If anybody has seen it, and I'm sure you guys discussed it last night, I didn't see the whole show. But the letter that Mitch Malloy, his representative, sent to Ray Daniels and Van Halen's representative is very clear. Based upon blah, 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 I would like to be removed from consideration for the lead vocalist spot. So we will all acknowledge, and I have done this in the past, sometimes a little bit more vitriolic than others. We will acknowledge that Mitch was in 5150 and probably a lot like Marky Mark in Rockstar, sang some tracks for the band.
Feel my heat.
But like Ralph Sands in Rockstar, didn't get the job. And never got the job. And his own words from his own representative sent to Van Halen's representative is, I would like to be removed from consideration, not I would like to decline the opportunity.
Yep.
So that's all you need to know. I would like to be removed from consideration is an acknowledgement by Mitch Malloy that he was not the lead singer for Van Halen. Not, although I appreciate the offer, I would have to decline at this time. Were Mitch ever in Van Halen, that letter would not have been written as it was. End of debate.
Gotcha.
End of Mitch hour.
Yeah, that's all you need. That's shit, Negro. That's all you need to say.
Wow.
What? It's the Pulp Fiction quote.
What?
Okay.
I want you to go in there and chill them motherfuckers out.
Damn.
You sending the wolf?
Oh my gosh.
What?
Fucking,
I even sanitized it for the kids. Hi, Ellie.
Rudy would have
Jean-Pierre.
stripes. Get control of your show.
I think Roth said, yeah, maybe the interview I'm thinking of, or not interview, but when he was on whatchamacallit, the radio show, I think he did say the Clash, the bass player from the Clash or something, had his guitar taped up.
That's what he said. He said he got the idea from the bass player. The bass player on the Clash had stripes on his bass, and that's
Cameron Brown bringing a little bit of meat to the conversation about Mitch as well.
Yep. I've seen it myself.
Yeah, I've heard those stories as well, Cameron.
Well, I think it's because to Mitch, Eddie's not Mitch.
I don't even know what that means.
Well said.
That's just confusing me a lot.
Well, I think there's something called malignant narcissism in
Sure.
play here. And
and what's the other word that they use? Cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, I just think my take is that Edward had some time with Mitch and probably said, we've been here before and I don't want to go here again. And him choosing someone like Gary is like a total fuck you to all the head cases out there, because we know that Gary is anything but, and maybe the nicest guy in rock and the sanest guy, and no ego. So I think he just didn't want the ego problem anymore, and that's probably what he sniffed out on Mitch Malloy very early in that looking him up or whatever you call
Makes
it.
sense. Yeah.
Long hair, blonde-haired hood ornament.
Yes.
That's,
So
I
anyway.
mean,
And how much is
six,
Gary?
six words that describe the Mitch Malloy experience.
How much has Gary said in the last year about it? You know, I mean, he's
Gary was in the fucking band and doesn't
right.
trade on it.
He doesn't. You know.
Yeah.
He doesn't trade on it, which I think is, again, a sign of class.
And he hasn't looked back since 1998 or whatever it was. You know. It's you know, he went forward with his career and his band.
Yeah, you never heard any kind of bitterness at all.
Nope.
No sour grapes, no nothing.
Nope.
And I will say it. I think I sent the text to Caleb and Jay. I was just driving down the street, had Extreme on shuffle in my truck, and I just wrote Extreme fucking rules. They're just such a good band. Such a good band.
Santa Cruz, that picture. Santa Cruz, that picture that Johnny put up there a minute ago. That's actually 98. So it's Gary was in the band. That was at a Van Halen show.
1998.
1998. Where Mitch is doing his best John Heater.
So he cut his hair after the
And our friend Larry, he actually sent us. There's a picture of Mitch.
Wait,
and
that's
Gary.
Mitch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
yeah.
Holy
That's like-
smokes.
That's like you with that spaghetti haircut you had back in the day.
What is that? Could you imagine? No.
He probably shaved his head. He's like, look, I look like Gary now.
What's in the envelope behind Eddie? Ooh, what
The
that-
cease and desist.
there it is.
And then our friend Larry, there's actually a picture. If you look right there, there's Eddie, Mitch, and Gary talking all to each other on the right.
And
Oh, wow.
as you see, Mitch is significantly further away from everything Van Halen than Gary is.
Last night
And
we were
Rob
joking
Johnson.
We were joking.
Yes, and Rob
how
Johnson in the back, looking all yoked.
Who's Mike talking to? Is that Kevin
it's like he just shit his pants.
Dugan?
Nice
No,
calves on the valet. Look at
We
those.
think that's Scotty Ross.
That's security right there. Van Halen security.
Yeah.
Well, the guy in the middle looks
going
like
on
he's trying to make sure that doesn't run down his leg and at the bottom of his shorts. He's like, oh,
Now
no.
go back to that other picture, Johnny. So, Michael, can I call you? No, you cannot.
Oh, who's got the is that a Kramer?
Monsters of Rock.
Yeah, it's
Is
the
that a
Monsters of
Kramer?
Rock Kramer. Yeah.
Yeah, Eddie told him he couldn't sign it. He goes,
Really?
go put this in your car, kid.
Yeah, I'm
No,
not
there's-
signing any Kramers.
There's Dugan protecting Michael Anthony's hand from Mitch Malloy's touch.
Nice.
Everything you touch fails.
Oh my god.
Hands off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fret level. I mean, Mark Graves. Mitch is like, may I park your car, please? He's giving him his ticket, taking his keys.
Exactly right. Oh no.
It's like, all right, yeah, I almost was in the band. All right, can you go pick up my car, please?
Remember that story I was telling earlier about George Martin bringing the Beatles drinks?
Yeah.
Mitch is like, well, if it's good enough for George Martin, I can get your car.
Yeah, don't compare him to George Martin in any way.
No, I will not compare Mitch Malloy to George Martin, although he may.
I had a few.
Hey! It's the right time to park your minivan. Hey!
Hey, it's the 30th anniversary of the Dallas Free Show, if anyone cares. Which was a great one of the better Van Halen bootlegs that came out over the years, professional shot, full concert.
Yeah, do you have is your version of it still have the time code on the bottom?
Oh, it's
of it and
terrible,
everything?
but,
yeah.
But
That's awful.
I wore the hell out of that VHS years ago. That was
That to me was
great
that
sound.
to me was
great video too.
That to me was both Van Halen's best and worst look of the 90s.
Oh yeah, I mean, look what they're wearing.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a mess. That's just a mess.
1991.
Yeah, that's like,
That's like-
hey, Seattle's happening.
Yeah.
Yep. Like, hey, okay, we're trying to go grunge, but we can't really.
Yeah,
And
Even with the dirty shaven Ed, I mean,
yeah.
I
How
bet
long
you
did he
that's the
have that
Squeal and
before he cut his
Judgment
hair?
Day, by the way. That's the Squeal and Judgment Day after the solo.
did they
That's
play
some next
Judgment
level
Day
nerd
on
shit
that
is what
show?
that is
Yep,
right
it
there.
is.
I don't know if they played
Mhm.
Judgment Day.
Yeah, they did.
Probably did. Yeah.
Next level nerd shit.
How long did he have that facial hair with the long hair before he cut it?
Actually, I was looking that up.
Well, this was like a one-off when they
It
were
was
off the road.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
uh,
end of the tour.
yeah.
it was between Shreveport, Louisiana, and Biloxi, Mississippi, on the 3rd and the 4th. In the 4th, they played the Dallas show, and then the 6th they played Biloxi, which was also, I think that was broadcast. Biloxi was broadcast on FM.
No, Pensacola.
Well, no, I'm talking about on the radio. Pensacola was on video, wasn't it? That was
Pensacola was on the radio too.
I think I had a bootleg of Biloxi. Maybe that was what I'm thinking of. But
Yeah, it was one of those album network deals that Tommy Nast was doing.
Good night,
So-
Janet.
Bye, Janice.
I
Bye,
always
Janice.
figured they were playing Dallas that night or something. But no, they went
Yep.
from Shreveport on the 3rd to Mississippi, Biloxi on the 6th.
Good point, AI Gaming. That was right around the time they were on tour with Alice in Chains, and Jerry Cantrell and Eddie were hanging out every night. So that could explain Eddie's look. It's like, hey man, this is a good look. Looks like I look like a dirty guy. I can do this.
They also did when they were on.
Johnny's awake.
Yeah, I'm here. They were on. Maybe you saw this, John BL. Was it
never.
American Music Awards? They won. Paul Schaefer handed them. He's like, here, through the magic of satellite, and Van Halen was sitting there like getting ready to play a show, and Eddie had the beard and everything. Like it was
Okay.
right around the same time.
I'm sure I probably did see a.
Here, babe. Here you go, babe.
Remember
Say
when
what
we
you
played
will.
Panama together?
Paul Schaefer has had a fucking nice career for himself. That guy's done well. Plus, he wrote "It's Raining Men."
Did he?
Claim
Oh,
to
yeah.
fame.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
Oh yeah,
Cha-ching.
that's Paul Schaefer's song.
Holy smokes.
Yep. All you need is one hit, and that's it, baby. How often do you think that song has been licensed for movies and commercials and all that shit? Yeah, he wrote that song.
Paul
I'm
Schaefer's
sure from
played,
personal experience.
he's played with a lot of people, man. And guess
He's a-
what? When Eddie passed away, he wrote on his Facebook, my most favorite guitar player I've ever played with or jammed with. So there you go.
Wow.
Yeah, no, he's a supreme musician.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you want to
Yeah,
talk shit
Pepsi.
about now?
Well, Jay, you were the one that was on fire.
All right, let's go with
Let's spin the wheel of shit talkingness.
5 guys talking shit.
Spin the wheel.
Sometimes 6 when Michael Smith joins us. I gotta grab a Pepsi. I'll be right back.
Oh, I was about to talk
Wait,
shit
wait.
about somebody that,
I was-
Paul would love to talk shit about with me.
I'll get into there with Randy Rhodes. I'll get in that with you in a
I
second.
was just gonna say it, yeah.
I'll be right back, and we'll do that. While I'm gone, talk shit about me.
Oh, see,
Paul.
Johnny and Paul are out.
Yep.
Wow. So, you guys got a wedding date or what's up? Not you and Jay, but John.
Wow.
July 9th, I will be marrying my fiance Linda,
Fiancé.
whom I love. very
7,
much.
9, 22.
Yes, 22.
At least you're not doing one of those sequential, number weddings. I have a close friend of mine actually. He got married July. Caleb.
Sorry.
He got married July 8th, 2009. So 7, 8, 9, right?
Nice.
Okay.
So I remember him telling me on the phone, and I'm like, look at the calendar. I'm like, dude, it's a Wednesday.
Yeah, I
He's
had to do it on a sequential day.
You
Yeah.
gotta know she likes the date. And I'm like, dude, people work that day and have to go to work the next day. Like.
So what's
she's like, why is 6 afraid of 7?
Oh my goodness.
Because 7, 8, 9.
Oh.
I was in disbelief. I'm like, dude, man. And guess what happened? As soon as the wedding was over, people were splitting home. Out of there.
A Wednesday wedding? Yeah, that's
A Wednesday wedding. Don't do.
Are they still married?
You know what you can't do also? Sorry, not what you can't do. What you shouldn't do is during football season, have your wedding on a Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Because everybody's in the bar watching football then.
Right.
Or no one
I
shows up.
actually at two weddings. One of them was a close friend of mine. One of them was a close friend of Jeannie's. A Sunday afternoon, right? The first one, the Bears were playing the Panthers in 2010. The second one, the Bears were playing the Chiefs in 2015. I sat in the back row and had the Sunday ticket on my phone, and I'm watching the game. Why? I'm like, no, don't do it. Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
So the reason I brought up Randy Rhoads, and listen, I'm not going to turn this into a smack talking thing again for the 100th time. Maybe
I guess you are.
So somebody on Twitter, I think I sent you guys a screenshot about their like dream band. So they had,
oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
yeah, Neil Peart, Cliff Burton, drums, bass.
Dio.
Dio was the
Yeah.
singer, and then they had Randy Rhoads as the guitar player.
I think Caleb chimed in with Freddie Mercury, right?
Well, you know what? If it's that, then it's a little more metal. So, but except for the Neil Peart part, because I do think Eddie and Neil Peart should be in the All Heaven band, even though Bonham might suit Eddie a little more than
Yeah,
Neil.
definitely.
You know what I
Definitely.
mean? Like this,
Yeah,
that
the
feel
groove,
and
the swing.
that pocket groove, like
Yeah.
that would just be insane. And
Alex is closer to Bonham than he is.
we know
to
Alex
Ginger
was a
Baker.
big, Bonham, Keith Moon, Buddy Rich mixture, basically, of those three. So, I mean, right. I think Freddie Mercury is the ultimate frontman singer, in my opinion. Is he, David Lee Roth circa 1981? Nobody's going to touch that year with that band. And they were the most perfect band of all time in 1981. And in my humble opinion, like nothing can touch like those live videos from Oakland, nothing, just massive. And I think everybody who watched that, who was in the game, watched that and went, oh shit, like that's good. And, but Freddie Mercury is Freddie Mercury. And I think even non-fans can go to a Queen show and see what he does at a performance at that level and how he's working his magic with the vocals.
Just look at Live Aid or any.
It's
of
it's another planet, and he wasn't even great at Live Aid.
No,
you know what I mean? Like he was
sick at Live Aid.
Yeah, he was already kind of, and he was out of practice and all that. But still, just the vibe and everything he had. He completely controlled the whole world. Like the world was watching, and he was in charge. And
here's the thing, though: the difference between Freddie and Dave, and I'm with you. Dave was the greatest American frontman of all time, but Freddie Mercury is the greatest frontman of all time because he could do all of what he did, and he was in key. And that to be able to have all the tools in your box and think in mind, and while Dave was doing that 1981 show in Oakland in front of packed houses of 18,000 people sold out in Oakland, Freddie Mercury was over in Europe in front of 60,000 people.
Oh yeah,
because Queen was a much bigger band in Europe than they ever were in the United States.
And to me, they're not in the same category, Paul.
No, they're not. They're not the same band. They're not the same kind of band.
But even they're not the same vocalist. It's the Dave show,
right?
Compared to the Mercury,
well,
concerto. It's
Freddie was Broadway. Dave was vaudeville.
There you go.
They're both phenomenal environments from which to perform. But Dave was more Catskill comedian doing his thing, and Freddie was more Shakespearean artist. And the thing that makes Freddie better to me is the fact that he could do everything Dave could do, with the exception of the high kicks. But Freddie Mercury, who steals a lot from Freddie Mercury is Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden, because of that theatrical theater movement on stage. Fred could make an 80,000 seat stadium feel like a 300 seat club, the way David Lee Roth could do it with a hockey arena. And again, Freddie was playing soccer stadiums while Dave was playing hockey arenas. And that's where the difference is. But I'm with you, Caleb. Dave is my favorite frontman of all time, but Freddie is the greatest. And if you're talking about putting, again, a band together of the greatest of all time, I think Freddie, because he's a better singer than anybody that's ever stood before him, and a great frontman, singer, A number one, frontman, A number two behind Dave. Dave, frontman, A number one, singer, C minus. You know what I mean? But he's such a good frontman that you're willing to overlook the other shit.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Whereas Freddie didn't make mistakes. Freddie had no flaws except for those massive teeth.
So how about this then? Instead of picking,
But Freddie had no flaws at all.
instead of picking the best, why don't we pick like what we think would work? I mean, I know chemistry, you can never guess chemistry or just plan on it happening, but I don't. There's certain people that you're like, I don't see that working.
Yeah, like Neil Peart and Eddie Van Halen don't necessarily gel together as a.
Yeah, I'd like to see Vi. I'd like to see Vi and Neil Peart. Like
there you go.
Yes,
there you go. I mean, that would be ridiculous because of the technical prowess of both those players.
Yep.
They're literally they're counting in 30-second notes.
And also
all the time.
The four that they had on that what their dream band would be, out of all four of those guys, who's like the most proficient songwriter?
Well, Dio probably, but Dio only wrote one style of song. I mean, Neil Peart wrote
lyrics.
Well,
he wrote phenomenal lyrics,
and obviously he turned the drum machine drums that Alex and Geddy would give him into something very, very just it wasn't
melodic and musical too.
So musical,
Yeah.
and the song would ramp up. He would add different elements every time a part would repeat or whatever like that. He's throwing extra stuff in to make it build.
Who was the bass player on that list?
It was Cliff Burton.
Cliff Burton.
Which I get it.
I mean, he's the Randy Rhodes of.
Yeah,
I love Cliff Burton,
Randy Rhodes
but he's the Randy Rhodes of bass.
Yeah,
that was a great career move.
He's not Entwistle. He's not Entwistle.
He's not Chris Squire.
Right. I put Entwistle,
far above Cliff Burton.
He's like, he was the best musician in the Who.
Sure.
He
most
was
technically
the
proficient guy in the
Yes.
Who. Absolutely.
Yes.
He was the one that got Metallica into like doing the guitar harmonies and stuff like that.
Well, it's because he was a Rush fan. He was into prog.
Yeah.
But
he would tell James like to do certain things, and at the time James was like, "What the hell is this guy talking about?"
By the way, just for the chat's edification, the people we're talking about have to be dead. You can talk about Steve Harris and John Paul Jones.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It was a
band in heaven.
That's right.
Yes, the band in heaven. So
Jay's
you
just
can't.
catching up.
They have to be dead.
I'm ripped.
Yeah, because Neil Peart's in there, it has to be Eddie, and just because he
Who's writing the music?
Yeah, right.
Who's writing the songs?
Well,
who's writing the riffs?
It would be Cliff and Neil.
Well, who wrote the tweet?
Mr. Happy
Look,
Nash.
A Rush fan.
Happy Nash. Mitch Malloy wrote that. Mitch Malloy wrote that.
Randy probably could have been a great writer had his career been a little longer. But
No, he couldn't.
know.
His career was long enough.
yeah, sure.
Damn.
He had 4 albums. He had 4 albums to write a hit song, and he didn't do it.
It's a good point.
He didn't. Bob Daisley wrote those songs. Sorry, that's a fact. No, that doesn't take away from Randy's playing on those records. He played well. His tone was horrible, but he played well on those records. But he didn't write those songs. That's the point we're trying to make, is that Randy wasn't a great songwriter.
To be considered one of the greatest guitarists ever, you have to be somewhat of the whole package. You can't just be all flashy lead player and you know all this stuff.
Right.
You have to be a great rhythm player. You have to be at least a good songwriter.
Yeah, I think the best dead guitar player to play with Pert with that style would be like Holdsworth. You know, Holdsworth and Pert would be sick.
Les Paul,
for sure.
You know, Les Paul is a pretty phenomenal guitar player. People forget because they know the guitar. They don't realize a lot of people haven't gone back and listened to his music. Les Paul was doing what all these shredders do today, all these fast players do today in the 1940s. I mean, his legato technique without distortion, you know, although he did speed up some of his tape later on down the line when he figured out how to do that.
Oh.
But his legato,
Vinnie Vincent Les Paul.
yeah. He was a phenomenal player. And people don't recognize him as the player he was because he was so instrumental, no pun intended, in recording technology and the development of the electric guitar. They forget, oh, by the way, he could also play, unlike Leo Fender.
I like Keith Campbell's right there. I think that's
what, Keith Campbell's band?
Yeah, I like that one.
Sure.
That's not bad.
I like that a lot.
Although it's not bad at all, because Cornell, here's the thing, Cornell a lot like Sammy, if it's a 12-song set, the first 9 songs are going to be good, and then Cornell is going to get tired at the end, because pacing for a guy like him was not easy, because he wasn't a classically trained singer like Freddie Mercury and some others. So Cornell was so emotional and would blow it out so hard at the beginning of the set that the end of the set would be a little bit lacking. But I could see that as being a great band right there. That's a great band.
No, Timothy Leo, we can't have 2 guitar players in the band.
No, it's just 4 people.
Ed
What
doesn't
about
need
a keyboard
a
player,
rhythm
bro?
guitar player.
Well, if you're going to put a keyboard player in there, John Lord, end of fucking discussion.
Oh, sure. Fret Level Midnight said Keith Moon over Neil Peart. Ooh.
Oh, God.
I love The Who. They're probably my second favorite band, but Keith Moon was not the greatest drummer. I mean, he's
not the greatest, but he's probably the most own style drummer ever. Like,
he had his style, yeah.
Nobody has ever played like him, and nobody will.
Right.
Like
what, like Keith Moon?
Yeah, it's
Ginger Baker
craziest
played like
thing
Keith Moon.
You think?
Who?
Yes, Ginger Baker played like Keith Moon. Ginger Baker was as wild as Keith Moon. Absolutely. Except Ginger Baker was more talented than Keith Moon.
You know, the thing about my favorite bass player from Metallica is Jason Newsted, hands down, because of the live performance, and just it fits so perfectly. Like he was almost like he was perfect in that band, right? Gigi Allen on shit. But I
take the B out of there.
If Cliff Burton didn't die, I don't think Metallica would have changed when they did. They would have. I don't think Cliff Burton would have let him. You know, you watch interviews with Cliff and James. James cowers to Cliff when Cliff's talking. He ran that shit, man.
Black Salami, take Ginger Baker out and put Keith Moon in. That would work. Gigi Allen, Keith Moon, Sid Vicious, and Jim Morrison.
Maybe, yeah. That's a pretty fucked up band right there.
Ooh, Lane Staley. Oh shit.
I'm a huge Lane Staley fan.
He could fit in there.
Wow.
But what a lot of people don't get about Lane Staley was half of his music that he was in, he was doubling with
Jerry Cantrell.
With Jerry, and they were making that vocal signature that they had. It was the combination,
evil harmony.
It was the combination of the two, and they sound very similar, by the way.
Well, that's it. You know, I would say that's what they have the same thing that Lennon and McCartney had vocally, which was a natural harmonic, pleasant tone that worked for the two of them.
Right, but you always know you knew who Paul was and you knew who John was in that mix, and Staley and fuck me. What the fuck? I just keep forgetting.
Jerry Cantrell. Yeah.
Jerry Cantrell
Yeah.
are very similar. Like they have very similar voices. It's kind of hard to tell them apart in a lot of cases.
But Jerry wrote the majority of even the lyrics in Alice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Jerry just put out a great new album.
It's a solo album?
Yeah. Yeah, it came out 2 weeks ago.
I'll have to peep it.
Yeah.
Lane Staley, Jimi Hendrix, John Bonham, Bootsy Collins, and Miles Davis. Good one.
Oh my God, it's even harder to do something like this. Pick the
That's like
complete
all over the
opposite.
place. Yeah. So that's all over the place.
I'd like to throw guys like Gary Moore into that run too, but people don't.
Sure.
Gary Moore never gets the credit. He's the unsung influence. Phenomenal guitar player that nobody references. Same thing with Gary Richrath.
And the best faces too. Best guitar.
Yes. Tommy Bolin, who never gets referenced because his body of work is a lot like Randy Rhoads. It was too small. The stuff that he did in Zephyr, nobody really cares about. The 2 solo albums didn't have a hit anywhere on them. And his work with Deep Purple was too short. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nice job, Mike. Well played. Well played. Ginger Baker was
Chuck Berry liked to fart on hookers. Yep.
he'd like to shit on him and all that.
More than farts, dude.
Oh, man.
That's
saw that
farts
video.
is foreplay.
I saw that.
Yeah, Keith Campbell, Jesus Christ. I will take Ray Gillen in that band that we were talking about earlier over Chris Cornell. I would put Ray Gillen in that category. Ray Gillen is the greatest singer that nobody's ever heard of. So good.
DK Wilson brings up Ginger Baker, Jimi Hendrix, Jocko, and Scott Weiland. That would be Hendrix and Jocko.
Hendrix, Jocko, and Ginger would be a great fucking band. I don't know who the singer could be for that band, but Jesus Christ, talk about guys who I think would fit together nicely. Super nice. That'd be a great one.
Mm-hmm.
How's nobody brought up some Michael Jackson?
Well, nobody wants to be starting something, Jay.
Yeah. Good one.
Beat it.
Yeah. By the way, for those that don't believe that
Yeah, Jimmy would sing.
for those that don't believe that Keith Moon and Ginger Baker played alike, they did. They're both disciples of Buddy Rich and Gene Krupa, jazz drummers.
I don't think.
And Mitch Mitchell was a lot in that category too.
Yeah, Mitch Mitchell was another one of those guys.
There was a lot of that just falling downstairs and landing on your feet type of drumming.
Keith Moon liked surf music. Keith, was he a jazz drummer in any respect?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes. I mean, well, here's the thing. Look, some of us are influenced by people that we like to name drop as an influence and don't play anything like them. But Gene Krupa and Buddy Rich are the two guys that really started the ball rolling for all of these other guys. Those were the jazz drummers that brought a heavy backbeat to what they played, that caused all of these other drummers like Ringo Starr and like Charlie Watts and the Mitch Mitchells, and then you start to see what?
Never mind.
Were you going to ask who Charlie Watts was?
Yeah. No, I know. No, I was gonna say something funny, but I'm gonna leave it for.
Yeah, I mean, like Charlie Watts or not, he was the signature sound, and arguably the greatest band of all time as far as just body of work and longevity and songs. I'm not saying the Stones are just the shit and are the greatest, but
no, his signature was not being able to hit the snare drum and the hi-hat together, and it drove me nuts, man.
It's not that he couldn't do it. That was just his technique.
But it was genius because it gave the snare its own sound completely. It was never mixed with anything. So I think
you just hit. It's just
that's his swing. Fret Level Midnight. I know you really want to passionately disagree, but go watch some Gene Krupa video and then watch some Keith Moon video back to back. They look almost identical. I know that Keith Moon didn't play like a jazz drummer in The Who, because that wasn't the environment for him, but that was his influence. That's where he came from. You know, by the way, our favorite drummer, Alex Van Halen, also a disciple of Buddy Rich and Gene Krupa and those guys, and then added a little John Bonham into it.
And Keith Moon.
So there's that snowball
and Ginger
effect.
Baker, because the Van Halen brothers love Cream more than anybody. So,
right.
You know.
So it's a you know, that goes back to what we were talking about before you joined, Caleb, with Jay, when we were talking about, you don't have to be a fan of the band to sit down and watch what's going on there. As a fan of music, you can see where it comes from. And it's beautiful to watch that. It's beautiful to watch that tree.
Jay watched a minute yet or no?
Some of it.
I watched a couple of the clips.
Okay.
I watched the clip where Paul's writing Get Back. I watched the clip where George Harrison quits the band or something. It was weird. And then another clip that something about Paul telling something to memorize the lyrics.
Oh.
You know, learn them. Whatever.
Yeah.
Didn't Ringo quit the band before George?
Yes,
I think Ringo quit in the prior.
They all
to,
quit.
For that. Yeah.
It's interesting about that band.
You quit. No, you quit. I quit. No, you don't. You're not quit. I'm quit.
I'm quitting. I'm taking my mic stand with me. This is mine. You know, people quit the Beatles so often that it wasn't viewed as a tragedy when it happened. Like, and that's another thing that you learn in this documentary, not to give too much away, but it's like, all right, who quit this time? And it got to the point where they would bust each other's balls, to the point where John looked at the other and goes, well, then why don't you leave the band then? Like, it was one of the
that's what I remember, is that it was actually like a common thing. You know,
it became a joke.
The older Beatles documentaries, the one that was on in the 90s, I can't remember the Beatles anthology series or whatever. And then there was like the complete Beatles and stuff. Jay wants to say something about.
I'll be right back.
Okay. There was a lot of Beatles history before the Get Back too. You know, that had a lot of those tidbits in it.
But it became a joke. It was sort of a joke.
They would have got back together like 81, 82. I really think
they did get back together on several occasions, like Van Halen. They got together and jammed all the time out of the public eye. They were friends. They were all still friends, which is the beautiful part that came out a few years ago. It was right around the time Yoko and Paul sort of made up publicly. And they were like, yeah, man, we didn't hate each other. Like there's that when bands break up, there's this misnomer that they fucking hate each other because that's why they split up. Because some bands do. Fleetwood Mac and, you know, the Kinks and all that shit, the Oasis brothers and Van Halen to a certain degree. I mean, the legends of Dave versus Sammy. Look, it's the greatest feud in rock history that continues even after the band is gone. But a lot of bands split up just because they can't work together anymore. It doesn't mean they fucking hate each other.
There was the whole story of Lorne Michaels trying to get John and Paul to come on to the show in the late 70s or mid 70s or something. And
well,
they were both in the
together.
same. They were both in New York in the same house at the same time.
They were at John's apartment.
They were
high.
at John's apartment. Yeah, at the time, and they considered it. They considered it, and I think he offered like an outrageous amount of money for it.
It was literally they were on the phone apparently during the show. Yeah. They were watching the show, and John was obviously was known to frequent tapings and in the studio, and was friends with John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd and some of those guys. So they all ran in the same circles, and basically John let Lorne Michaels know that he and Paul were hanging out and they wanted to come to the after party. And Lorne Michaels like, fuck, man, come to the show. Come hang out and jam. And they literally were like, do you want to do it? I don't know, maybe. Never mind. Let's smoke another joint.
Yeah. That's what
I mean, they were this close to fucking really showing up on Saturday. Right? That's a true story.
Yeah. There's like a movie. There should be a movie just about that night in New York.
Yes.
Like what happened that night.
What could have been. Like that would have been fucking awesome.
Yep.
How great. Just that story alone is another legend to the Beatles, that Paul and John were hanging out, getting high in his apartment, watching Saturday Night Live. Imagine you're Paul McCartney and John Lennon. All right. And then I want to bring this up to Dave Grohl at some point too. Imagine you're Paul McCartney and John Lennon. You can fucking do whatever you want. Like together, they could have called the White House and said, hello, President Ford? Yeah, Paul McCartney, John Lennon. Can we come over and hang? And the president would be like, yeah, Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
Those guys, nobody who's gonna fucking say no to Paul and John.
Right.
That's so
maybe Jimmy Carter. I don't know about Ford.
Are you gonna talk to Dave Grohl?
No, maybe he's coming to town, so maybe that could happen.
Okay.
I know you're gonna get me after the show.
Yeah.
But if you haven't watched the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony, I want to point out how fucking
Which one?
insane, the most recent one.
Oh.
It's fucking insane how important Dave Grohl has become in rock history. He is the guy that's flying the flag for 30 years. I mean, think about this. The Foo Fighters have been around for almost 30 years, so 27, 28 years, right? And they're going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Whether or not that's deserved or otherwise, that's for another discussion. But Paul McCartney agrees to induct them. All right? The greatest living musician on the planet says, yeah, I'll do it. Goes up there and talks about, in his induction speech, and I won't ruin it, but I'm going to give a couple points of it. He says, imagine being in the most important band in your generation, and that band splits up. What do? You start your own band. I was in a very important band called the Beatles. Quick pop from the crowd. And then we split up. It was tragic. And then I formed Wings. Big pop from the crowd. Dave was in a pretty important band himself, and they split up. What was he to do? He formed his own band. Foo Fighters, big pop. He basically, what Paul McCartney did was take his majesty and say, Dave Grohl is the Paul McCartney of this era. Think about how humbling that must be to be the musician that is standing there and has Paul McCartney hand you the fucking baton for greatest living musician. Just think about that.
At the end of the show, you jam with him, like.
And then by the way, if you haven't seen, it's another Foo Fighters thing. If you haven't seen Foo Fighters live at Wembley, there's another fucking great moment where they're at Wembley Stadium and Dave Grohl says, when this opportunity came up, there was no way I was going to fucking say no. And he calls Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones onto the stage.
That's right.
And he grabs the microphone and Taylor whips into the beginning of Rock and Roll. Dave gets behind the drums first, and Taylor sings Rock and Roll from Zeppelin with John Paul Jones on his right and Jimmy Page on his left. And they sing that song, and then they stop and they switch positions. Dave Grohl grabs the microphone and sings Ramble On with John Paul Jones and Jimmy Page and Taylor behind him playing. Dave Grohl has played and jammed on stage with three of the greatest musicians to ever do it. And oh, by the way, he was also in a band called Nirvana. Like, that's the third most impressive thing about Dave Grohl. Well, fourth, really, because Foo Fighters are a better band than Nirvana was. So just think about that. I just wanted to point that out. You talk about all these things that are great about music. Paul McCartney put his fucking stamp of approval, which is not an easy thing to do because Paul McCartney, as much as people love him, is a notorious curmudgeon when it comes to music and giving his endorsement to things. And he fucking gives it to Dave Grohl. That's phenomenal. Super cool. Oh, yeah. Dave Grohl jammed with Prince, too. How great is that? Jesus.
And David Lee Roth.
Yeah, David Lee Roth.
So stupid. So stupid. Dave Grohl is like the Forrest Gump of rock.
And when Dave Grohl jams in front of the mirror, he jams with Dave Grohl.
But just think about that for a second. Holy shit. Just imagine it be fucking Dave Grohl. Talk about a charmed life. There's a book.
Guy works his ass off.
Nobody works harder than Dave Grohl, except maybe James Brown, but he dead now. And still working.
Yeah. Caleb, where's that picture?
What?
Where's that picture?
I don't have that picture.
With Dave Grohl with the pick?
That picture. Yeah, holding my pick. Wait, you want to give me your pick? That's what he said.
There you go.
Oh wow, that was quick. Oh,
that's my picture with Dave Grohl. Dave and Taylor.
Meh. You look like meh.
Oh,
Meh.
Yeah, it's Dave Grohl. Yeah,
wow. Awesome.
Taylor. Yeah.
Yep.
Meh.
Yep. Just hanging with Dave and Taylor. While we did that interview, Dave and Taylor were playing hangman using a pencil on the table in catering. They were drawing, and they drew the 2112 album cover. I'm like, you do realize this table is now going to be worth something someday? And Dave's like, I don't give a shit. It was cool. It was one of the cool times, one of the cool moments. Like, I don't have a lot of moments that I have pictures with people. I just don't do pictures with people that I've met. But that was one of those cool moments. And they were like, hey, you guys want to do a picture? Yeah. All right, cool. Like they brought it up. Okay.
Awesome.
They wanted a picture with me. Yeah. By the way, it's funny. Jesus repairs me. I own no Foo Fighters music. The only thing I own from Dave Grohl is Probot. I own no Foo Fighters and I own no Nirvana.
Anybody want a cat? I'm friggin' pissed.
What happened?
What?
So, if there's any parents out there with younger children, you know, there's the thing called, you know, Elf on the Shelf, right? So they had something cool set up down there, those little sneaky elves. And my cat jumped on the damn dining room table and destroyed it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Johnny, I put that in the chat. That picture, by the way, in our chat. It's a GIF. I made a GIF.
A GIF. Never a GIF.
Yeah, it was cool. I didn't even have the band fully put together yet, and but I had picks made, and I gave him a pick, and I told him about it, and he was like, "Wait, you want to give me your pick?" Because I think everybody asks him for his picks, and but he said Nerd Halen right there, like after this video, he goes Nerd Halen, and he thought to himself for a second, and he looked at the person next to him and goes, "Man, I'd go see that." So that was really cool. And I think he meant it. So
we were at Velvet Revolver's first show at the El Rey Theater, which was in 2004, summer of 2004. And my buddy who worked for a record company, we parked in the parking lot down the street from the El Rey, where it has a big sign that says, it's Staples parking lot, but it says Staples Toes on the wall. And of course, we come out after watching Velvet Revolver. They only played like 5-6 songs, but it was a showcase and it was like fucking packed with all radio industry people. And my buddy's truck got towed. So I went over with my buddy and we stole the sign. We pulled the sign off the wall that said Staples Toes and brought it over in front of the El Rey and had everybody that was in the truck that night autograph it. Dave Grohl comes out of the El Rey and he sees this crowd of people doing this thing. So he sticks his head. He goes, "The hell's going on over here?" And we told him the story. We're like, "Dave, this is what happened." And he goes, "Oh, that sucks." We go, "You want to sign the sign?" We were going to take the sign over, and we did it. We took the sign over to Kinko's and made 500 copies of it and put it in the mailbox of everybody that was staying at the Beverly Hilton Hotel that night, because we were going to pass the hat the next morning at a convention, at a symposium, to try and come up with money to get my friend's truck out of impound. So we go, "Dave, do you want to sign this?" He goes, "Fuck yeah, I'm in." So Dave signs it. So we literally have this thing, and around it says "Actual Dave Grohl autograph." And we brought it over to Kinko's and had those things made. And it's like 4 a.m, and we're at the Beverly Hilton stuffing people's mailboxes. So when they went down to check out, everybody got a copy of Staples Toes with the Dave Grohl autograph on it. It's my Dave Grohl story.
That's very good.
Awesome, man.
Plus, he's a huge barbecue fan. Caleb will tell you that. He's a huge fan of the barbecue.
that's what he was doing that night.
Yep.
He was running a barbecue at like a party.
That's his thing.
Just like making pulled pork sandwiches for everybody. It was surreal.
Yeah. All right. All right.
Right on.
All right, Jay, who else you want to talk shit on?
Who's next?
All right, we handled Mitch.
By the way, Jay hasn't stopped eating since he turned his camera back on. Has anybody noticed that? He's just jamming his face full of fucking food.
Cheez-Its, man. Cheez-Its are so good.
Oh, Cheez-Its are the
good
best.
stuff.
You know
How
what's
does
great thing
Mike
about
Tyson say that?
Cheez-Its?
Cheez-Its. Cheez-Its.
Cheez-Its. The best thing,
Jesus
great
Christ.
Cheez-Its, you get Cheez-Its and you get it all packed in the back of your mouth, like stuck in your molars, and then you drink a carbonated beverage,
Mm-hmm.
and the bubbles take it off your teeth, and you get to eat them again.
Oh wow, let's try that.
Mhm.
Michael Smith, take care, my friend.
Captain. The captain, everybody.
Captain. Take care. Just chiming in, saying hi to everyone, and we'll see him next time. Working hard.
By
And
the way,
again, Cheez-Its,
Michael using the word
original
communicable.
Cheez-Its, there's no off-brand that even competes. You know, you got
No,
Cheese
Um,
nips are not.
cheese nips are the
Cheez-Its.
closest things.
cheese nips, but there's the consistency. There's something about them that's not as good. You got then you had the remember tidbits.
Mhm.
It sounds familiar.
Yep, they were like the longer, you know,
Oh, okay, yeah.
cheddar thing. And then there was the better cheddars. Those are pretty good.
You know, the Pepperidge Farm goldfish are pretty close.
Those are good.
They're close, especially if you get the pizza.
Different
ones.
animal though. That's a
Pizza
different
fish.
animal.
Different thing.
Yeah. Pizza fish though are good. The Pepperidge Farm goldfish that's supposed to taste like
Farm.
pizza.
Pepperidge
Pepperidge
Farm
Farm
remembers.
remembers.
Yes.
Yeah, Cheez-Its are awesome. They're like Cheez-Its are like Fig Newtons. You can't really fake them. I don't like Fig Newtons, but
Oh,
they're-
okay.
Nobody likes
they're-
Fig Newtons.
No, my point is they're singular.
Yeah.
There's nothing that like Doritos. There's nothing. Nobody else makes a nacho cheese flavored chip.
That's good.
It's a unique thing.
No, but there's what's the is it what brand makes the nacho cheese chips, whatever the hell? They're basically Bravo. Right?
Yeah.
Bravo or something.
Yeah.
They have it's a bootleg version and it's not
Yeah.
nothing competes with the original. It's like when you mentioned Fig Newtons, I'm not a Fig Newton fan, but we've all had a bite of a bootleg Fig Newton and it's like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh my God.
Like
A
High
fig
Dog.
bootin'. A fig bootin'.
Well, it's funny because there are a million brands of cola, but there are only 3 that anybody can name.
RC,
That's the third
Pepsi.
one.
Diet
Pepsi
Right.
and Coke.
Oh,
Ab.
Shasta.
Shasta.
You know, everybody who makes a lemon lime soda that's good.
7-Up and Pepsi.
Squirt.
7-Up and Sprite.
Sprite.
Yeah, Sprite. That's the
Sure.
thing is you've got a situation where if you are singular, there are two versions of orange soda that anybody knows. Obviously, you got
Minute Maid.
what?
Fanta.
Yeah, Fanta. Fanta's the best.
No, it used to be Crush and Sincut.
Crush, yes.
Crush and Sunkist. Yeah,
But Fanta has pulled out ahead. I mean, I do like my Fanta.
yeah. Fanta orange is
held
the
on,
shit.
dude.
Yeah, Fanta's is the shit. That's you get
Slice.
into those slice.
How about Cactus Cooler?
Slice. Yo, Kurt mentions the exact opposite of what I was saying. Stacks are better than Pringles.
I don't know about that.
Try it again. AB and buy the same
Yeah.
flavor of both
AB
of them. AB like a mix. Dude, I just AB mixed 1.0 with 1.2.
Stephen Franklin, you think Polar Cola? You're thinking of White Rock, right? White Rock Polar Cola.
I don't know.
Yeah, White Rock. I think, is
Remember
an
Aspen?
New England
Remember
thing.
Aspen?
No.
It was like an apple.
Ass pain? What?
No, but I do remember Pepsi Light, which was Pepsi with like a little lemon twist that
Or
you would
Pepsi.
sell.
There was Pepsi free, and then there was also
Pepsi Free was garbage.
Yeah, there was a lemon Pepsi. It was that was
The lemon is Pepsi Light.
Pepsi Light was Pepsi
Yeah.
lemon. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
it had a light blue can with like little white stripes around it and shit. It was garbage.
garbage.
No, they still make Mr. Pibb.
I like Dr.
Pibb's
Pepper.
all right.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Pibb is Pepsi's version of Dr. Pepper, right?
What is it? The Walmart, Dr. Wall, I think. Walmart does a good job on all of them.
Dr. Thunder.
Dr. Thunder, and then there was the Mountain Dew. They had a Mountain.
Yeah, the IBC
Mountain
root beer kind of
Thunder or
came
something.
along and killed everybody. That's for sure.
That's just
IBC's
good.
quality, yeah. Although my grandmother used to make a great root beer. She had a good home recipe. She would make
A boot
homemade
beer?
root beer every year.
Root boot.
Root
Yeah,
boot.
Mellow Yellow was
Root boot
Pepsi's
beer.
answer to
Like Mellow
Mount-
Yellow.
No,
yeah,
Yellow was horrible.
Coke. Yeah, it was awful.
Squirt's good. Squirt's good.
Oh, Moxie
ooh.
is gross. Fret level midnight.
Licorice.
Moxie is chocolate water.
No, isn't that's you're thinking of Yoo-Hoo.
I'm thinking of Yoo-Hoo. Sorry, my mistake.
Moxie is like licorice Coke. Licorice
Yeah.
cola.
Ew.
Licorice cola.
Ew.
You guys don't get that? That's an East Coast thing, I think. Moxie.
Yeah, Moxie's gross. I was thinking of Yoo-Hoo. My mistake. Yoo-Hoo is chocolate water.
Yeah.
Are people old enough to remember just what an amazing moment it was, even though it was a total ploy in the end when Classic Coke came back
New Coke.
from New Coke? Does
New
anyone
Coke, which
remember
was
that?
The
1980.
Edsel. The
I remember
Edsel
that
Coke
absolutely.
mistakes.
I took the Pepsi challenge.
85, 86, man, that was just New Coke. And you were like, what is this? It's gross. It was like, tastes like medicine.
I remember buying it at the concession stand at my baseball game in 85 or 80. Yeah, probably about 85. And I was
Greatest
like,
move ever. Greatest move ever, because Coke realized at the time Pepsi was gaining on them so much that they changed their flavor to taste a little more like Pepsi,
Yep.
and then reminded people, yeah, Pepsi's not as good as what we really
Right?
are.
It was.
It was brilliant. It was brilliant in its simplicity.
Do we know for sure though?
I was
Was
gonna
it a
say-
ploy or was it a dumb move that they fixed and it just worked out?
I don't
'Cause
think they ever came forward and said that it was
In the end, Coke wins, and that's all that
Yeah,
matters.
that's it. I mean,
Because,
I
dude,
guess
I
you're right.
remember when them Classic came back, man. It was
Yep.
just like gold.
People went nuts. Yep.
nuts.
It was a great move. You know, today that would be a deliberate viral marketing ploy. Like when
Yeah.
somebody pretends that they got a racist comment on their receipt. Some waitress pretends they got a racist comment on their receipt so they can set up a GoFundMe to have people contribute money so they can pay for their baby mama stuff. Oh, it happens all the
Nice.
time.
Nice segue there.
It's true.
Remember?
Yeah, what a mistake that was.
Remember?
I wonder how much they
Remember
lost.
Crystal Pepsi?
How much did that cost Pepsi? Because they had to pay Van Halen how much?
Not
Good
only
night,
that,
man.
they paid Robert Plant too.
No,
Yeah,
Coke
Robert
Pepsi.
Plant did Crystal Pepsi shit too.
Wow.
Where's the Pepsi?
Tall, cool one.
Yep.
Pepsi and ringdings.
Mexican cola is interesting. You know, when you live in a place like Arizona, you can get that a lot. I think they've got it in Southern California too, because they just ship it up. And all it is basically Coke
Yeah.
and Pepsi with real sugar in it.
They have it here too.
Yeah, real sugar.
It's good.
It's better
It's like-
than
God.
yeah. It's so much sweeter than the high fructose shit.
You know what the best Coke is though? McDonald's Coke.
Oh, ah,
The Coke you get upstairs at the Rainbow.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Miami.
So,
Sorry.
so I've heard.
Studio 54.
The best Coca-Cola is at McDonald's.
I've heard that too. And that's
Oh,
what,
it's
the best bathroom.
Yeah,
there too.
they like do just a little bit more on the syrup than most.
Oh, how about the glass bottle, like the old
Glass bottom Coke?
fashioned one?
Anything out of a glass bottle is better.
Yeah, the Mexican Cokes because they use real, not the corn syrup.
where were you? Where were you
we
about
just-
2 minutes ago when Paul was saying?
I don't
that?
know.
Real sugar, real cane sugar.
I'm
Hey, look
faded,
who's
I guess.
live. Nobody. Just us.
There's no other shows.
No.
There are no
Baja
other shows on right
Blast.
now.
Yes, Hellstorm.
Baja
Oh,
Blast.
Baja Blast. Nothing better with a taco than or Taco Bell with that Baja Blast, man. You got to
Mountain
get
Dew. How many different flavors has Mountain Dew had?
a lot now.
The
man.
Code Red, the Baja
Code Red's good.
Blast. Grape.
Does anybody remember Cactus Cooler?
Mm-mm.
No.
What about Ecto Cooler?
You have.
Is that like a California thing? Cactus Cooler?
I've heard of it, yeah. Is that a Mountain Dew? Was that actually a Mountain Dew product or
I don't
Was
think
the-
so.
John Bill.
It was their own thing. Cactus.
Cactus.
All right, we've run out of stuff. We're unlike real Coke, where this thing has run out of steam.
Well, nobody else is live, so it's just us.
Oh,
That joke, you know what, John? That joke worked the second time. Good for you. You came back to it. You came back to it.
I'm usually good for
And
one,
it's him.
one good line. One good line a week.
He's
so.
the one saying that. It's not. Don't blame me.
I'm just saying. No, it's John, not Johnny. John delivered the joke. Most people ignored it. I caught it and was like, "Okay, nice, well played." Acknowledged it. Even acknowledged it live here.
I didn't hear it.
You went back to it, and it still played. Good job.
And Paul drove it into the ground.
Yeah, I didn't hear it the first time or the second time.
Good.
Yeah.
Anything but you caught it last week.
Oh, I did. Oh man, now I'm mad. I have to go back and watch it.
Yeah, because you didn't send it to us in slow motion.
Right.
That's true.
You should have timestamped that one.
You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. What? What?
I double dog dare you.
That's
Keith Campbell brings up a good point. IBC root beer is still a distant second to A&W root beer. A&W root beer was so good that they had restaurants.
But IBC came in the glass bottle. That gets you back to the glass bottle.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Would you rather drink a Heineken out of a bottle or out of a can? I
I
don't know why I chose Heineken, but
neither.
Yeah,
Rolling
I'll
Rock.
take
Rolling Rock.
Yeah, anything out of a glass bottle is better.
I don't know. I don't think there's anything on earth better than that first sip of Coke, like in ice. It's just the best thing ever.
We used to when they remember the mini bottles, the 10-ounce Coke bottles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was a place, I don't know if they still have them. John Biel would be able to tell me. They were called Store 24, and they were essentially a 7-Eleven or a Quick Trip or
Store
whatever you want to call. Yeah, Store 24.
Store 24.
Is that what you guys call it now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Store 24 was a convenience store that was open 24 hours, obviously. And they would go on special in the summertime. They would have the 10-ounce bottles of Coke in the glass bottle for 10 cents.
8 ounce or 10 ounce? Because I know they make the 8 ounce. They make the 8
they make
ounce
the smaller
cans
ones, yeah.
That make your hands look like that picture of Andre the Giant. Beer can.
I think the originals were 8 ounce. That was you get it for a nickel back in 1927.
But you would get them. You could get them at Store 24 for 10 cents. So if you had $5, you got diabetes.
Diabetes.
Kurt, do you store Mexican Cokes in your glass Coke machine in your garage?
Kurt, is it one of the ones that you open the little thin refrigerator door and you pull them out? Is it one of those? And then the bottles get refilled?
Probably has the metal slots.
Those things were awesome. Yeah, the slots where they were all lined up at an angle, so you pulled one out and it rolled another one right in there. Do you have that, Kurt? That's fucking awesome.
Come in here, Kurt, for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, do a Laz from last week. And save the last 10 minutes of the show.
It's retrofitted for beer.
Oh. Disappointment.
I know. Like, what are you doing? Why would you do that?
Karen, why did you do that, Karen?
Do you have the 44 model or the 88 model? That's how many bottles it fits. You gotta watch American Pickers to know that.
Is Laz waiting to play, by the way? Or
to play us out?
Is he gonna play? Ain't talking about something?
He's backstage.
Laz.
Hey, talking about Mitch.
Ain't talking about much.
Yeah, we're really killing the last 12 minutes of the show right now. We're just like, okay.
Oh.
I've had a few.
Oh, here it is.
Here's what?
Oh,
cool.
Jesus. Yeah, my green screen. Great.
That is cool. Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
Heineken. Oh my God.
But why would you put beer in that?
How many times did you scrape your knuckles on one of those, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of work for a beer. Does it have the bottle opener on it? Does it have the bottle opener on the side?
I think so.
That's kind of neat.
That's old school.
I got a feeling that Mitch won't die.
Is it in one of those?
It used to be. It should be that little metal thing on the. No, it isn't. Right
That's
there.
the key.
One of the cutouts there. One of the holes.
Yeah, it's
It
got
used
to
to
be one
be
of the
one.
holes. And it
The
just
bottom
opens,
one would be a
bottom top
change
goes right
hole, so
down.
it'd be that top hole.
The
Kickity.
top hole is for caps.
Got to put it in the right hole.
Here's
It's the real thing.
It's the real thing.
Hey, I am a failure.
Oh,
Oh my!
I was thinking like how ironic it would be if Nerd Halen went in a slot right before Great White.
And
Like
close
how
with
that
that song.
Yeah, right. We're gonna do a song that no
This is
one's
an
ever
unreleased
heard,
Van Halen song.
but we'll do the "That's Why I Love You" version.
Dude, that's why I love you.
Or you play after them, and in the middle of their set, you just go up and start wheeling their stuff off and wheeling your stuff on.
By the way, is John Heater doing "It's the Right Time" with his Mitch Malloy experience? Here's a song I would have written if it hadn't been written by somebody else and sung by somebody else before.
somebody doesn't like Dos Equis.
He played it solo.
Did he?
Yeah,
Who, Mitch?
I think he did. I think he played that solo. I think I've heard it.
Well,
Jump
in
in.
the video, he's playing it live with a band, his own band. So
Okay.
it's definitely something. Probably at his sets, he would say, you know, this is the song I wrote with Eddie Van Halen.
Even though I don't really like Eddie Van Halen and badmouth him as much as I possibly can when nobody's looking,
Oh shit!
allegedly. See, now I'm covered.
Now you're covered.
Yeah, now I'm covered. All you have to do is say allegedly. Can't prove it.
No action.
You think
Can't
saying
prove
something
it.
like
Not
that?
actionable.
You
Reportedly.
You think you say something like that? You might not want to leave a paper trail.
Why would who left a paper trail? What are you talking about?
Not you.
Oh,
I'm talking about Eminem.
you would you would think. Yes, KXM Rock. I saw that news as well. For those of you that don't know, I'm going to be putting together my my video, my demo reel, based upon appearances on this show and my commentary on Mitch Malloy to replace Chris Cuomo weeknights on CNN. Chris Cuomo has been fired.
Wow.
Can you imagine? I am Paul Marshall. Let's get after it. Mitch Malloy, fraud? It'd be like Joe Piscopo's Saturday Night Sports. Hello, everybody. Mitch Malloy, fake, talentless.
Oh shit!
Napoleon Dynamite? Actually, he's not talentless. He's just not talented enough to make it on his own. He's got to sing other people's songs. Fact.
Yeah.
Fact.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes, Keith Campbell's right. He did suggest this on my Facebook page that I do braids for my headshot so I can seem very, very hip like the kids. By the way, can we put here's let's talk some shit. You ready to talk some shit, Jay?
We got 4 minutes.
4 minutes
Nice.
to talk shit. I'm going to talk shit right now. I'm going to give you a name. And
It's the
somebody
rapid
has-
fire round with Paul Marshall.
Yes. We're going to talk shit for 4 minutes about a guy who has no business getting the quality of women that he gets on a regular basis. And that person is the human monkey.
Why?
Pete Davidson.
The human monkey.
This is a human monkey.
Pete Davidson.
Who is
Yeah,
Pull
but
up
is
a
Kim
picture.
Kardashian a quality
SNL.
one? I mean, I don't see
No,
it.
no. No. It's quality ass for Pete Davidson.
Oh my God, Kurt.
Yeah,
Oh,
Kurt.
Rob Johnson.
Ah,
Who's Pete Davidson?
He's SNL. He's like a
He's funny as fucking hell, though.
He's pretty funny, yeah.
He's
Proof
funny.
that sense of humor. But go down the list of chicks Pete Davidson has nailed. It's
Ariana Grande.
It's fucking retarded.
Kate Beckinsale.
Ariana Grande, Kate
Really?
Beckinsale. He's banging a Kardashian now. I mean, that's not really an exclusive club, but
Oh
But
God,
for-
that guy.
Human-
Pete Davidson.
What did you call
Look
him?
at that. Pete Davidson has Ariana Grande wrapped around his fucking Eminem haircut.
Oh,
Look at him.
God.
How did that happen?
She let it slip that he's got a huge hog, by the way. So maybe that's the story.
Well, it's either a big dick or a big bank account, and he's still on Saturday Night Live, so
Could be both.
could be both, yeah. Ridiculous. How does this fucking guy get those women? Come on.
Because he has problems.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah, they're
Women
damaged
love-
women. They're
women
damaged
love
women.
to fix guys.
He's a 9/11 orphan too.
Yeah, he certainly is.
Is he? Oh man.
His dad was a firefighter.
I will tell you, when he did a bit about 9/11 about his father that I thought was brutally funny. And I thought it took a lot of balls for him to be able to do that. I'm sure that's how he's coping with it, is just through, morose humor. But unbelievable the amount of chicks that guy gets. Silly. All right, there's your 5 minutes.
That's what qualifies
Make him
as like
laugh, dude. Make him laugh.
Who are we talking shit about?
this guy.
that
That
guy.
guy.
We're not talking shit. We're curious.
Envious.
Jealous.
Envious.
Well, no, I'm not. I wouldn't say envious. I mean, 4 out of the 5 guys on this show have outkicked their coverage. So
We're still processing that.
it's a compliment, John. You'll figure
Thank
it out
you.
tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah. How does that happen?
Who's the
Right?
chick on the left?
He's
That's
Beckinsale.
Kate Beckinsale. He banged her too.
Oh my
That's
Who are the
God.
two on
whole-
the right?
that's his resume.
His
right there?
menagerie. Yeah.
Man,
Who are the two on the right?
I don't know.
who cares?
Yeah.
I guess
All you
he
gotta
doesn't
do is-
blonde.
And he's all right with Beckinsale and Ariana Grande is 2 more than he should have ever gotten.
He's like the Anthony Michael Hall of his day. I think it's kind of like I don't know who else you can. He was on SNL.
He looks like a reject from Twilight.
He looks like a dork. I mean, yeah, but that's all right. It works today. Didn't work in my day.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how that guy, the ass that he's able to pull.
Good on him.
Yeah, no, I'm a lot like Mitch. Good for you, sir. More power to you.
Well, I'm glad we finished strong tonight. So
Yeah, you're welcome.
thanks, Paul.
I'm glad I could help.
No, but we did have fun, didn't we, folks? Anyway,
Watch
Are
the
we
Beatles
good?
documentary. If you like music,
Definitely.
watch the Beatles documentary.
okay, let me take these off so I'm not so blurry. Yes, watch the Beatles
Great look
documentary.
tonight,
And
by the way. John.
everyone have a great week. I hope. Looking forward to Johnny's
What are
shows.
you looking forward to?
Johnny's show's coming up on Tuesday with 80s metal, etc.
Tomorrow.
And, tomorrow, the String Change show. of
String
course.
change. I
Nothing-
got
Oh,
a.
Wait,
I-
here you go, Johnny. String
Wait.
Change show brought to you by.
Thank the
Not these
Yostinator for
people.
sending. He sent like a whole. I got like 9 sets of strings from Yostinator.
Oh,
Thank you,
shit.
Yostinator.
Thank
Wow.
you so much.
Generous.
And I've got a
Glary.
blurry glary. here that
Blurry,
just-
glary.
that Glary just sent me.
A
I'll
glary,
be
blurry.
restringing
Glary,
that
blurry.
tomorrow.
Glary, blurry. Paul's got his. That's a nice
Explorer.
Explorer.
Larry
Why
Bluestein.
didn't we see that? Is that new, Paul?
No.
Ooh, hell no.
I'd never break it out because it's a pain.
Everyone
in the ass
grab
to put on a
their
guitar.
nearest guitar.
It's a pain in the ass to put on a stand. They don't sit right on a stand, and I have to put.
Come on,
Fucking-
Caleb. You know you
I have to
want
put towels and shit on the stand because it's nitro finish, and you don't want to get stand burn. That's the only thing that sucks about Gibson guitars.
I'll use
The
my
nitro
Nerd Halen.
finish doesn't
I
work
gotta
on
bring
the
it to
stand.
my guy, but look who's back.
And at some point I will eventually unbox the head rush and work with it. But until then, I'm still just sort of playing dry into the.
I just realized I've been muted for the past few minutes. I'm like, these guys are just not even talking right over me.
Because you're high.
There you go.
There you go. There it is.
You can't put strings on that thing and like get it up to.
He doesn't know how to do that. No, he needs a tech. Anybody want to?
Yeah.
I put strings on it, but I have to get it like the Floyd grounded and all that shit. It's still
Are you taking a guitar tech with
What's
you
hard about that?
for the cruise, Caleb?
What's hard about that?
Dude, put the tape in the middle of the glasses and get to
What's
work.
the deal?
What's the deal with this trip?
Come on, that's not a Kramer.
Who built this guitar?
It doesn't rest on the body. How many springs?
You gotta get
Caleb string together.
Caleb is the Jeff Gordon of guitar players. He can play. He can play them, but he won't work on them. NASCAR fans love that joke, by the way.
I get it.
Yeah, NASCAR fans love that joke. The Jeff Gordon man, he's so not legit because he doesn't work on his own car.
All right.
Man,
Jeff Gordon.
Maybe call Derek Van Halen. He can string his own guitar. Oh, cool. I'm sure he'd put me in perfect tune.
What is the shower Sherclaw? What is that?
The what?
Johnny, can you please pull
Oh,
that
the
up?
Schaller Sherclaw. What is that?
I don't know.
Sounds like a
Fun, yeah.
tremolo aid.
I'm gonna get. I think I have one somewhere. One of the trem stops from Adam at FU Tone.
Tone. There you go. Is that you, Paul?
Mm-hmm.
Trem stop.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, how about that?
Yeah.
I got it right. Kind of. Yeah, let's get the hell out of here. All right, let's get out of here. GTA. Hey,
Yeah, we're
Johnny,
done.
didn't you have an epic GTA?
I do. I mean, it's
Show,
not totally. It's not
the other
totally
night?
epic, but it's been 24 hours, so I can show it because everything on Twitch has to be exclusive for 24 hours.
There you go. A little
All right.
Frampton to finish up here tonight.
Yeah, sure, why
That
not?
was Peter Frampton with yeah.
Do you feel like we
Do
do?
you feel like we do? All right.
Frampton comes on 5.
Robot, are you in here, man? Robot.
Robot. Master switch.
All right. Yeah, I'll show a small clip from last night. It's like a minute long. And yeah, I'll be doing some GTA in a few. There you are, man.
Change
Dude,
the
last night was
word.
insane, man.
Change the last word in Grand Theft Auto. What would it be?
Sail the 7 seas.
Grand Theft Chucho.
Yeah. Chucho. What? All right, let's watch it. Go, Johnny.
Do it.
The suspense is killing me.
All right. Basically, it's just to show you we have a good time over there. It's me and Robot Master Switch hanging out. All right. See you guys later. Johnny Beane TV.
Yeah, so you're slowly getting a crew together. That car's so much fun. It's so fast. I gotta get the better cars. It looks cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, see now the date's ending. He's gonna kill you. Watch out, Johnny. Run.
Huh?
Maybe not.
What is that? Like a Mach
Where's it
1
going?
Mustang?
Can I drive
What
it?
kind of car was that?
Oh yeah. that
I don't know
pointing-
what
what's
that
that
is.
pointing?
Di
What's it
Tommaso
like-
Pantera.
It's so weird.
There's like gestures, like follow
It's
where
like
he's pointing. Follow him.
That's what that
what do you
means?
call it? The James Bond
It's a Di Tommaso.
Here's
Looks
another.
like.
Spy That Loved Me.
Oh, this is DeLorean.
Oh.
And
Oh,
this
he
is
has.
super
Oh, this
cool.
one also flies. He was telling you to go to his other car. Well, this guy has all
That's
the
Robot
toys.
Master Switch.
Are
That's
we
Robot
really
that's
watching
talking.
video games?
Yeah.
DeLorean. Press X.
62.
Oh, he's telling you to
Kaz,
drive it.
69.
Oh, dude, you gotta be pals with this guy.
Where's X? Oh. Yeah. He sent me a friend request.
Yeah, make it fly, dude.
Does this have the jet too?
it's so much full of badass.
88 miles per hour.
Man, both these cars are cool, man.
I miss Carmageddon.
It has guns.
I gotta figure out a way to like, how do you get better at these games? You can make more money to like buy more cool stuff like this.
Said no jets.
Oh, there's guns in it too.
No jet.
Whoa.
Zarbs.
No way.
Said just hovers.
Just uppers.
No way.
Oh, it's so sick.
No, it's not. It's a video game.
Yeah, look at this. You hover, so you can just hang out.
A
Zarbs.
game like Grand Theft Auto.
Said you
This
can
is the
switch
clip
to
that Johnny
missiles.
shows us.
Oh,
Yes.
It's epic, man. That's some crazy stuff.